3, 2,
Look, I don't want to.
Welcome back to the Dust Off the Mic podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell me more about your bad life decisions. Come on, we got it.
It's they's such a bougie bitch. I really don't care.
The gulf between where you want to be and where you are
I wouldn't let her touch me.
is a lot smaller than you think.
You're just not ready for something. That's what that was.
We'll talk later.
I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted. Oh my
God.
You gotta
So I was
take the
like,
time
all right,
to
cool.
season it to marinate. You need the patience and the pressure to detonate. I'm trying to blow it.
Gloves are off.
Need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision. I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro. You know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah. Socks with the
Welcome back, creeps. It's Dust Off the Mic, and we do, in fact, have a little guest. Eric Spinner, ladies and gentlemen,
Hey.
from Health Haven 2 in Medford, New Jersey, and Squatch Talks podcast from all over. You've been running since, you said, 22?
Yeah, January 22.
All right, nice, dude. Yeah, this is the second time that Eric's been on the show. For those of you who don't know, he is a what would you classify your level of expertise as? Hold on, let me turn the music down. Sorry, I figured you wanted to get into the slow
What would I
vibe.
classify myself as?
Classify yourself, if you may.
By day, I'm a nutritional consultant and health food store owner.
Okay.
And by night, I'm a Bigfoot researcher. But I am an investigator from the BFRO and an organizer as well. I organize and put on expeditions. But yeah, we've delved into a bunch of other things in the recent past.
Nice.
So I'm, doing a little bit more with the cryptids and the paranormal, what we call paranormal parallels.
Paranormal parallels. Elaborate on that a little for me.
Sounds better than woo. You might have heard of woo in the past, but when people have, situations that involve portals or cloaking and, thinking that they came down from a UFO or something. You know what I mean? Those are what we associate as woo, but we've changed it to paranormal parallels.
Okay.
But we were on an expedition a couple of years ago in the Pine Barrens, and we actually, we were on pristine virgin property. Okay, and it's funny, I just had the landowner in yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she's granted me access to do it again on our spring expedition this spring, June 5th. But yeah, we actually wound up talking with an entity with K2 meters, and I had a couple of mediums on my team.
Nice.
And I'll tell you what, we were getting some solid information. It turns out to be her nephew who had passed on.
Wow.
No fault of his own, necessarily, but his message was he was sorry and that he loved them. You know what I mean? So I was able to convey that to the family.
Wow.
And she said she watched the episode, which is called Esoteric Expedition,
Okay.
on our YouTube channel. And she actually was having like a little problem wanting to recommend it to her sister-in-law, you know what I mean, because it was her loss. But yeah, that was a paranormal parallel for sure. I mean, including spooky music that I picked up on the microphones, because we record with digital audio out in the field.
Yeah, you do like spirit boxes and stuff. I watch a lot of ghost shows. A lot.
Yeah, we've done Estes sessions and stuff like
Okay.
that as well, and we've had some weird results there.
Okay.
We've used SLS cameras.
What's the one that sweeps through radio frequencies?
That's the spirit box, or
Spirit box.
ghost box, as they
Okay.
call it. Yeah,
Okay.
we've done that, and that's what we use when we're doing an Estes session with the blindfold and the noise canceling headphones on.
Okay.
And people sitting around ask the questions, and then the person who's doing it will respond. You know what I mean, with answers, but they don't hear the questions being asked.
Wow.
But yeah, for me personally, I'm a Bigfoot guy. That's what I classify
Right.
myself as. I always said I was a flesh and blood guy, thinking that these are what I consider to be a relic hominid, okay, that split off somewhere along our evolutionary chain, right? But as of a couple of years ago, I had an experience on an expedition in Pennsylvania at Dead Woman's Hollow that just blew my mind. And I mean, it was eye-opening. So at that point, I had to say, wait a minute, there's got to be something to this.
Well, what happened?
Has it been since I think we talked before?
Is that the one you were talking about where the hand came in the tent?
No, that was my first expedition in 2008.
In 2008.
That was where we F Todd.
That's where
Hashtag
that's where
F-Todd.
hashtag fuck Todd came in. Go on to dust off the mic and find
By
out.
the way, Todd, my good friend Todd Prescott, my mentor, was voted Bigfoot Researcher of the Year, Bigfooter of the Year.
Let's go.
At Bigfoot Times magazine. So
Very cool.
Congratulations, Todd. I didn't actually send him any congratulatory.
Yeah, because you're watching, Todd. Watch out for my boy, but congrats. Fucking prick.
But no, we were in PA.
Okay.
Just north of Gettysburg.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, it's a beautiful area, a lot of activity. And, it was the final night of this expedition, and I was one of the investigators. So Nathan, my good friend and former co-host, had given us some specific locations that we could choose from. And I heard Dead Woman's Hollow, and I said, well, that's where my team's going.
Sounds good, yeah.
Right? The funny part was, though, that where he had originally suggested we set up a little satellite base camp was down at the bottom of this ridge near a creek. And so when we pulled up, I'm like, no, this isn't suitable. And I had some of the older guys with me that were a little, out of shape. So I said, well, let's head up this trail, which starts to go uphill, right? And so they start huffing and puffing. We get up to a certain spot, and I'm like, okay, we'll stop here. And as I set down my bags, it's funny because I had forgotten my camp chair, right? I had not turned on my microphones, which one of my rules is you turn on your audio
as soon as you get there,
before I even get out of the truck. Okay, I'm literally opening my peanut butter filled pretzels, and I open the bag and the pretzels fly all over, and then we hear this howl come from across the ridge. I mean, unbelievable, like unprovoked. This howl was pristine, so I quickly turned on one of my microphones and reached for the other one. And we got a second and a third. So I wound up recording.
Oh, you got it on?
I got the 2 and the 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I missed the first one. And this is literally 10, maybe 10 o'clock at night. We're early at this point. So we hear that, and I turned to one of the other investigators from Massachusetts, and I said, "Did you get it recorded?" He said, "Well, yes, sir, because you've taught me that I'm supposed to turn on my audio when we get here." So I was, oh, cool. And so, wow, that was quite a welcome. I said, and so we can go.
we got our
we got what we came for, and everybody was excited. Right?
Yeah.
My team was good. There was supposed to be another team at the top of the ridge, but there was people apparently camping in a remote spot, so they didn't go there. And we tried to maintain some radio contact with them. They wound up going back to base camp. But at that point we had stopped, and we thermed the area. We did have a little bit more activity, but that was it. And I didn't do any. I did eventually do a response howl because I wanted to make sure it wasn't the team that was supposedly up at the top of the ridge.
Right, and you said there were other campers there too.
And there was apparently a group at one campsite, but
they were accounted for, and then everywhere else was like
everyone else was accounted for, and these are very remote spots, so they're not like 5 or 10 campsites right on top of one another.
Okay,
they're like pretty distant. Okay, so we were at that point. I had gotten radio communication with Nathan. He was heading back to base camp, and he said, "No, we didn't do any howls." So that's when I responded. But this is like maybe 5-10 minutes after the initial.
And could he hear your howl when you responded?
No, he was in his truck heading back to base camp.
Okay.
So he didn't hear my howl, but at least I confirmed that they didn't do it, right? So at that point, we were feeling pretty good. And so I was like, okay, let's start heading back up a little further. So again, we continued climbing up this trail. Got to another point where these guys were huffing and puffing. I said, okay, we're going to do like a little, what we call a Pied Piper routine, where I leave a group at one spot and the other group continues, and we do back and forth provocations. It could be knocks or howls or whatever, whoops, right? So that team stayed down below. They had thermal imagers as well, FLIR, forward-looking IR, infrared. So, yeah, I headed up with Tony, who's LEO, okay, and Jeff from Massachusetts, the other investigator, and we're trying to get to this specific location. And Patty, who's Tony's sister, also LEO, stayed back with the other 3 guys, and they had on their phone this thing that said how far it should be, the distance, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're walking, and it's funny, after we left them, and this is where the paranormal comes in. After we left them, we got up a little higher. There's this little bend in the trail, and there was like a Y-shaped branch that was on the ground. And as soon as we stepped over this branch, it got like 10 degrees colder. The wind whipped up. You could see your breath coming out of your mouth. You couldn't hear the creek down below in the ravine anymore, right? And we're like, wow, that's interesting. And I checked my watch, and it was like around 11:30, I guess, at that point. And so we continued up, and then at some point I'm like, man, I don't think we're going to get there. Did he mean 1,500 feet or 1,500 in elevation, you know? So we stopped, and I radioed down to them. I said, let's do a couple of back and forth and see what happens. So I asked Patty to do one of her whoops. We couldn't hear her. So I do a couple of knocks. They couldn't hear me. So I'm like, whoa. So I do a howl. They couldn't hear my howl. So I'm like, wow, okay, that kind of sucks, but, you know, we're going to hang here for a little while. And it was the three of us. And so I forget how long it was, but I looked to my left, and on the left-hand side of the trail was what looked like a headlamp, about 8 feet off the ground. It was right off the trail, not deep in the woods, but I start doing this like swaying thing where I'm going kind of back and forth to see if it's a star or a moon. We weren't far from the AT, so it could have been a trail runner.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to eliminate all variables, you know? And it just slowly went down and extinguished. And as I turned to Tony and Jeff, Tony says, before you say anything, he goes, you guys talked earlier about getting, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, zapped. And we call it getting zapped when you have like maybe infrasound, right? That these, we believe they can produce, okay? He says, and he's sitting in his chair at this point. He said he had what felt like 2 fingers pressing on his forehead to the point where he had to sit down. And he's a big guy. And Jeff and I both felt like our guts were twisted. So were we zapped? I don't know. But
now, when you say zapped, do you feel like that's like something shifting in the energy? Do you think that's like, first of all, you went out into the woods to look for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And do you think that is definitely not what you encountered? Do you think you encountered something else?
No, what I'm saying is at first with the howls that we heard and recorded, that what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was Bigfoot, but it was Bigfoot. You
Let's
know
go.
what I mean?
Let's go.
But at that point, it's hard to say what it was. You know, that headlamp looking light, it was white.
Right.
And it was there, and then it slowly went down and went out. It wasn't like like a UFO or something.
Sure.
You're an orb, you know. But yeah, we've seen orbs on expeditions, and other people have reported that as well. So
Do you think these orbs are pretty associated with Bigfoot?
There are some.
Okay.
Yeah, there's stories that talk about that, but I don't. Like I said, this was my first time having an experience like that, so that's really what opened my mind up to the possibilities.
Okay.
And so Brian Spinner, my friend and co-host, he's a BFRO guy as well, and Nathan, they had wanted to delve into this, you know, paranormal parallel that we talked about.
Yeah.
So I was open to it, but my main thing was Bigfoot.
Right.
So, and then, as I mentioned, on our 2021 expedition in the Pine Barrens, we had that experience with the spirit or entity, whatever you want to call them, communicating with us, and that just blew my mind. I mean, that's another example of what happens, you know, when you're out in the forest. You know the Pine Barrens. It's spooky out there without looking for
you're
Bigfoot.
already in a pretty heightened sense of this is fucking nuts when you're out there.
Yeah, and it's pitch black. You know what I mean? We're usually out there until 2, 3 in the morning.
Wow. You think that was the moment you decided to make the shift from solely Bigfoot into now let's look into all of it?
That was the moment when I personally made that shift.
Right.
To have an open mind.
Yeah.
And since then, other things have happened that reinforce that. Like you see white lights, energies, and things, you know what I mean? And it's just unusual.
You were talking about paranormal parallels. So is the parallel is like, and forgive me if I'm butchering it, but is it like the events that happen during paranormal things without like a specific scope on them? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just like stuff happens you can't explain.
Sure.
You know, we've seen UFOs out there.
Sure.
We've seen some weird, strange stuff. We've had, footsteps approaching. There's nothing there.
I was all but convinced the drones were aliens.
Yeah.
I was all but convinced. Like, why aren't they talking about it?
I was more leaning towards it being more misidentifications.
For sure.
Because people just don't look up.
I just want to believe in all that. I just want to. It's just my thing.
Well, just like with Bigfoot, I don't think they exist. I know they exist. Right. I mean,
you believe it in your heart of hearts.
I've seen them twice. And I was clean and sober. You know what I mean? So I've seen them. I know they're real. I've spoken to too many witnesses that have seen them. Interviewed a lot of witnesses. You know, I've come across too much evidence in my career to think otherwise.
Right.
I've had UFO encounters too, though. No.
I've had ghost encounters, or at least what I believe was ghost encounters. Dark and, interestingly, not dark.
I've had a couple of those too, but the UFO encounter that I had both occurred at my old house up the street, where I was with a neighbor, and we were imbibing in a CBD cigarette at the time.
Oh.
However, I mean, we were just sitting there kicking back, watching the meteor shower. It was the Perseids meteor shower, and two craft came over. I could see it come over my Japanese maple, about 1,000 feet up, charcoal colored, and almost like hexagonal in the front and round in the back.
Lights?
Only one round globe, I guess you would call it, on the bottom that was like a reddish orange color, and it just kind of pulsed. No sound, but it just kind of pulsed.
And you just saw it.
And these one in front of the other, and they just slowly glided across. And I looked over at him and I said, "You seeing what I'm seeing?" And he went, "Yeah."
Well, that's good. At least he saw it too.
Right, confirmation.
That would take out the CBD cigarette.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the first time. And then there was another occasion, same backyard. I was with my Jack Russell terrorist, Max. And we were going back to check the pool because the guys, I couldn't remember if they were coming to open the pool or close the pool, but I had to go through like this rose trellis entrance to get into the back.
Yeah.
Right, where the pool was. Check the pool. And as I'm heading back through the trellis, 5 triangular lights in V formation flew right overhead, silently, but like you hear the whooshing, you know what I mean? And it went over the house and across, like towards the park across the street. So I run out to the front of the house to see if I can see where it's going, and it was gone. So I turn around, I'm heading back up my driveway, and it came back again a second time, over the house, then up and to the left.
Same formation.
Same formation, same 5 triangular lights. And so I was, in my previous marriage, I ran upstairs to tell my ex, and I was like, I just saw, what I think is a UFO. And I went on, the internet was new, it was like 95.
Okay.
I went up to check, I'm like, well, obviously there's no report of it because I just saw it.
And not every human being has a cell phone right now.
Right, exactly, I tried to attribute it because it was a Ford dealership, to the right and behind my house. I remember geese flying overhead and their white bellies being, illuminated by the white lights of the parking lot from the dealership. So I tried to attribute it to that, but obviously I would have heard their flapping wings and squawking, you know what I mean?
Depends on how high they are.
Well, this thing went, like just,
Yeah.
And then when it came back, it went, and like to the left, up in the air and gone. So that, to me, is a valid, what we call UAP now.
Yeah.
But back then it was a UFO. These drones, though, I don't know about the drones.
No, the drones are... I just, people treated them that way. And, first of all, why aren't we allowed to shoot at them if they're a foreign enemy?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, for that, second of all, why, if there's something not dangerous, why not just tell us? Why do we have to change an entire president to find out what the fuck they are?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Totally.
And even hearing Trump say it, and I'm like, I don't know. But maybe they wanted to just put so much goddamn paranoia. I'm more of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I know. But I liked how I liked how she led with the first press conference with that. That was the first topic she brought up at the initial press conference. Aside from allowing podcasters like ourselves to potentially earn a seat in the White House.
Yeah, and we can pretty soon we can have press credentials,
right,
to actually investigate, which is huge,
huge.
Because now we don't have to. First of all, as long as it's a public place, we can go wherever we want to investigate. But now we have, as long as there's stories to be had, you can go to a place of business. You can say, I work for such and such. We're classified as a media company here.
Yeah, man.
So like that'd be really cool.
And I'm kind of thinking that maybe instead of doing a Bigfoot podcast, I should have done a news podcast and probably have more followers at this point. But
yeah, but you're doing what you're passionate about.
My passion.
Your passion, exactly, and that's what Dust Off the Mic's all about.
That's what the life is about.
Right? Is you found a way to not only maintain, I use normal with the heaviest of quotation marks, normal 9-to-5 job, because you're doing again something that you're passionate about, and then you're into the passion in the off hours, and you're going out into the woods and you're exploring and you're taking people out there and you're knowledgeable.
In my case, it's 10 to 6.
10 to 6. All right. See, listen,
banker's hours.
It's a good work day,
but
it's respectable.
Yeah, and anytime you can take a passion into something that they actually pay you for, it's even better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, when I do the expeditions, as an organizer, the BFRO does pay me to take these people out and show them a good time,
That's awesome.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and then not only that, but those people are there because they feel just as passionately as you do.
Right.
Or at least are open to the idea.
Exactly.
And then when they see how passionate you are, what you do, what your protocols are, and they're like, holy shit, this guy means business.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know me. I'm a pretty fun guy.
Yeah.
I always say I'm a fun guy. And Heather says, yeah, you are a fun guy. But, when I am out in the field and it's night ops time, I put on my Bigfoot hat. I'm all business.
Not only that, but I've known you a long time at this point, since I was, 18, 19 years old, something like that. I've never known you to be a bullshitter, a liar, and I've also seen how serious you get in serious situations, like when it calls for serious Eric, and I've seen how crazy and ball busty you can get, and then there is that lovable side.
Yeah.
So like all of that factored into this passion that you have, and then like of course I'm gonna hear it. Of course I'm gonna really fucking listen, because this is a dude who I know well, and this is a huge part of his life. So like to take all that into account, like of course I always try and remain skeptic, to do the devil's advocate thing and ask the questions, but like
I love that.
and I like that you do too. Like you don't just go out there and like hear a random stick break and go, "Stop, fucking Sasquatch,
Bigfoot,
fucking Bigfoot, Yeti's out here, guys," and do ghost hunters did that shit. Right. Every time, like, did you see that? And then the camera would turn like 4 seconds later. I swear to God, it was there.
I didn't.
This place is fucking haunted.
I know.
I liked in Ghost Adventures because they originally started out really heavily debunking things. Like they were trying to find the noise. They were trying to like recreate the situation with light. Like, was it a car driving by? Until one time they did like this Xbox like Kinect camera. Did you ever see that episode? That's what made me watch all like, what is it, like 11, 12 seasons of Ghost Adventures?
Okay.
Because they had that guy lay down and they had this Kinect camera and it clearly scanned him and it clearly scanned something that wasn't there, and then the moment the thing that wasn't there reached down into his abdomen, he's like, "Oh!" Like in perfect timing. There's no way they could have coordinated that. I mean, maybe if you really put in the effort, you could have coordinated it. But that was like he was clearly freaked the fuck out.
I didn't watch that show. Is that Zach? I forget.
Zach Bagans.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know he's got a lot of dramas going on, but I appreciate the show for what it is.
Sure, and I appreciate when they do, the real thing instead of making shit up.
Plus, the guy is clearly different. You know what I mean? Yeah. Of course he's going to have drama. Of course he's going to have some. That's a weird career. Let's be real. That's a weird career.
It is.
He goes into the most haunted places and then tries to either find the ghosts and communicate or debunk.
Yeah.
And he's got an entire museum of all these haunted artifacts in his home.
Right.
I imagine he's got just a little bit of drama.
My artifacts are Bigfoot casts, and
you brought some cast feet with you.
Yeah, man. But it's funny you mentioned that camera, the Xbox Kinect, right? Well, when we did this, what we call a remote camping in the Pine Barrens, because New Jersey's all tight ass and bureaucratic.
Sure.
So they want you to camp in their specific spots.
Sure, so they can make money and fuck you.
We were at a place we now affectionately call K-Pond, because my friend Kevin, that was the last spot he came to me before he passed on. So we were there. It was me and my brother Brian from another mother, Brian Spinner, and then we had some other people join us, my research friend Art and Nate and Terry. But we wound up having the SLS camera. Okay.
Which is the Kinect camera.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's this
like
is a real SLS camera.
Yeah.
That hooks up to a tablet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had done a Estes session, and we had done a couple. I had some long duration recorders out hanging up in trees and stuff, and we wound up. It's funny. It's one of our funnier moments. There's always funny things that happen on expeditions and whatever, but in this particular instance, I had a carcass of a chicken or turkey, I think, hanging behind Brian's tent, right? And so when they scanned it with the SLS camera, there was like an image with arms and legs.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And we're watching this thing, and then it freaking leaps onto Brian's tent and teabags his tent. And Nathan says, "Well, your tent just got teabagged." And it's like,
by a chicken.
well,
by a chicken carcass.
By this entity, apparently.
Yeah, he was really into the meat, and then he was into teabagging the tent.
Yeah, so pretty funny.
I've been all in on ghosts since day one.
Yeah.
Been all in on the dark and light spirits. I've been, trapped entities and energy, like,
And people believe in that.
Sure do.
Right?
Sure do.
Absolutely.
I would say every single culture that has ever existed has some sort of idea of the afterlife.
Absolutely. And that's why, as I said to you before we went on, that I was thinking about changing my name and making it into a more combination paranormal Bigfooting kind of thing,
Yeah, encompass all of it, as opposed to just, SASQUATCH.
Exactly, and not limiting myself. So that's why when I did the last episode with the blue hole, you've heard of the blue hole.
I have heard of the
You've
blue
hold
hole.
of the blue?
You've
hold of the blue herd?
I used to do a lot of drugs, okay? My brain is fucked.
Please continue.
But, we had with us a gentleman. He's a lead singer of Michael's Plot. Mikkel's Plot, I always say it wrong, but he's Michael. And he was doing a presentation about the blue hole, so he met up with me and Art. Mm-hmm. And Art and I had gotten there first, and then Michael joined us afterwards. After getting stuck in the sand, I had to pull him out with my truck. Kind of comical. So there's a lot, again, fun stuff that happens. But, he said also, like, him and his wife had an experience with ghosts that have made him a true believer in the existence of ghosts, right? Mm-hmm. And so and it's funny, my friend Todd, who won Bigfoot of the Year, he had said it on my interview that I did with him, what if Bigfoot's a ghost? And maybe that's why people see him cloaking or tracks disappear.
Interdimensional.
Yeah. Exactly. And that was like mind blown.
It's definitely a good way to explain why we haven't found him yet,
right? Like
officially, like you get the blurry photos, you get the crazy. I mean, you get your footprints and all that stuff.
No doubt. Hair samples. I've got a bunch of stuff.
Tons of eyewitness accounts.
Well, one thing now that this has progressed over the years, I now have a guy, an eDNA scientist on my team who has a lab in Maryland.
Okay.
So we actually have sent some samples, one from Cape Pond.
Okay.
And another one that I'm pretty positive is bear scat. But I wanted to see how
That's
good
fair.
he was. You know what I mean? So it was big pile of poop,
Big pile of shit? Did you guys think it was Bigfoot shit? Or
was there
theories?
I've seen
that
plenty
it might
of
be?
bear scat in my day, but it's in the Pine Barrens, which we don't see a lot of.
It smells
there.
very distinctive because they pretty much eat whatever.
Yeah, it couldn't really. It didn't have much of an odor.
So it wasn't that fresh then?
No, it was actually a day old.
Okay.
I'm telling you, because we were there the night before, and we had a back and forth with whooping with this lovesick juvenile. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I took my squatch stick and I beat this stick that was on the ground. It was branched. I broke off these branches. I told my buddy Jake, I said, hang on a minute. And then, again, paranormal parallel. You see this white light coming up into the trees, the pine trees. It's just like, I was like, whoa. And then we heard these two knocks. Actually, it's one knock. Boom. And it wasn't one of the usual New Jersey knocks. It was a boom, you know what I mean? Like, and wow. And that was after this back and forth whooping that we were doing. The guys sitting back where we had set up camp didn't hear it, but we did. and recorded it.
And you got it on recording
and
too.
recorded it. Yeah,
You got to do like an audio compilation on YouTube of every.
a good idea.
Yeah, just do pictures or whatever in the background. I can
Absolutely,
edit
I'd be
that up
interested
for you.
in doing that.
I could totally edit that up for you. Just give me all the sounds you got. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and like I said, some of these sounds we've recorded over the years. That's the number one thing I tell somebody to bring with them on an expedition is a digital audio recorder.
Is this a cryptid? Is that what you said, Slayer?
Slayer.
Slay Cozy Entertainment, everybody.
I'm kind of
Slayer.
a
This is
cryptid.
Eric. This is a good buddy of mine. I've known him for a very long time.
And he still has me over.
Yeah, it's true. And we're still friends.
That's because we're so far away.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we're
literally-
only one or two towns over.
not even. Like
Not
literally,
even.
it took me 2 minutes to get here.
I could jog to your house. I could jog to your store.
But no, man, it's like that's the number one thing because you know what? You're not going to get a photograph. You're not going to stop and say, "Oh, hi, take my picture."
Yeah, selfie with fucking
You know.
Sasquatch.
But you can record these things doing what they do, and that's something you can take home with you and listen to over and over again. You know, so that's a lot of
What
fun.
if we like took the audio, routed it through like some sort of AI, and just have it recreate what it thinks it is?
Ooh,
That could be a fucking sweet episode too.
there's another episode in the works.
Just take all the recordings you got. Like if you wanted to start a new, I'm sorry, I don't mean to write your show for you.
Nah,
but it's
believe
a-
me, I'm open.
You have obviously a lot of. Slay Cozy says, "Hey, hey, fam,
saw.
huge fan."
First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah. Take all this audio, take any video, and just see what you got. Have all these. You can make probably first 2 episodes of like just what you found.
Yeah.
Just showing the molds, just showing the audio, just any camera stuff you got.
Dude, at this point, all I've used AI for was to generate a few new, images.
I've had it help me write a few YouTube like descriptions and stuff like that, and help me
Nice.
kind of like utilize words better.
Yeah. Well, it kind of scares me though, the whole AI thing, because there's already enough dispute whether or not these photos on the internet are real, right? Now we got to worry about AI generated images.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like we still, as people, kind of tell the difference. Slayer asked, is the main theory of Bigfoot that it's just one or it's a secret society?
Oh, it's totally a secret society. If it was just one, I mean, how long? It's like the Loch Ness Monster. I don't really go that route because obviously it would have died off by now if it's just one. You know what I mean? But, and again, you might be, but I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist. Although I look forward to these
I don't believe nothing anybody
files
tells me.
being released with JFK and RFK, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Martin Luther. But I don't know. Obviously, people are having these encounters all across the country and in other parts of the world. You know what I mean? So if it's just one, that would be tough.
I think the real question to ask would be, like, if he is real, we know goddamn well somebody knows about it.
Oh,
They can track an endangered species down to 2.
right.
So if somebody knows about it, then the real question becomes who and why.
Well, and that's why they don't want it to be proven, because otherwise it will affect our forestry industry, our wood and paper industry. You know what I mean? It's just like the spotted owl,
Yeah.
right? But I will tell you this. I spoke to a witness who had access to the Pentagon, and there was a door that said Bigfoot research on it.
That could just be the department, you think?
Right.
You think they got, like, Sasquatch in a cryopod or something in there? Tickling his feet, seeing what he does?
I've heard a lot of stories about things like after the Mount St. Helens eruption that some were, lifted out of there with helicopters, and there's stories about ones getting injured in that explosion. So
I'm also very much in on Hollow Earth. Not necessarily Hollow Earth, but there's definitely enough hollow spots in Earth that it could house entire terrariums, like town-sized terrariums.
I always enjoy J.K. Tolkien or whatever his name,
Tolkien.
The Hobbit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I enjoy those stories.
I mean, but they've, like, if you've seen some of these caves they've uncovered,
Oh my God!
that you can get low enough that you got enough moisture and warmth that you could
totally.
probably grow some shit if you find a way to
Mammoth
get
caves.
photosynthesis.
And we have that coming from like Tennessee, I guess, right, all the way up through the Appalachians,
Yeah.
or Appalachian, as they say.
We went up to Hershey. There's caverns all over PA, all over, and you gonna walk in them, and it's like being in like the foyer of a mansion.
Right.
In some of these things, you're like,
totally.
holy shit,
With
like,
with chandeliers.
with
hanging.
chandeliers. I agree. I think it's a tight-knit secret. Yeah. I think a lot of it is. I think everything having to do with cryptids, we have enough technology and resources that we can at least get a yay or nay out of a lot of this shit. And I think they do know and have I think they know. They just don't tell us.
No, just like I said, it's just like with the UAPs, right? They just recently released that information with the Tic Tacs, right? And the Navy and all that. And I keep saying they only did that to distract us from the shit that wasn't getting done in D.C.
I believe that too.
They're like, let's give them this.
Yeah. It's like a sleight of hand. They want you to look one way when something else is going on.
But, when once Bigfoot was mainly tabloid fodder, now you see all kinds of shows. Now you see all kinds of things for sale. Bigfoot's big business now.
People believe in it.
I'm drinking,
whether they've seen him or not.
I'm drinking SASQUATCH coffee as we speak. Wearing my new
Did
Black
I spell
Rifle.
cryptids wrong, Slayer? You're what is cryptids? You know what? Shut up. Shut up, dude.
Spell check.
Listen,
But hey,
I'm a comedian, not a spellcaster or whatever you fuck.
I'm not a doctor.
Words are hard, okay? Remember?
I
Fuck.
just play one on TV.
Yeah, right. So your episode with me was
2 years
like
ago.
almost 2. Yeah, just over 2 years ago now. What has changed in the world of the paranormal with you? Have you made any advancements? Have you made any new discoveries aside from the stuff you've already mentioned?
Well, like I said, with my team growing, of course, we've got a couple of anthropologists on the team now. We got the eDNA guy. Continue to do the podcast.
So you have a steady place to send out samples now.
Oh yeah, and I've got a whole box of collection kits.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Plus, I just brought on another guy who's a UFO guy, former MUFON guy, who's got this rig that he put together that can see stuff in the sky like you wouldn't believe. So he's now a new member of our team.
Okay.
Herpetologist. I was going to tell you, like I mentioned that lovesick juvenile that we had the conversation with. Well, Jake, my friend, came on my 2021 expedition as a skeptic. Okay, and he's done herpetology studies for the state of New Jersey. Figured he'd come on board, see a bunch of wackos, getting excited over, coyotes, howling, right? Literally came to tears on Saturday night with the experiences he had.
Really?
Yeah.
Straight
literally.
Skeptic, didn't believe shit.
Straight skeptic.
It's fucking easier than it's. Fuck you. Oh, you don't know what cryptids are? Oh, okay. Would you like to explain to Slay Cozy what a cryptid is?
Well, there's a thing called cryptozoology, and that's basically the study of as of yet undiscovered animals. Okay, so they call cryptids things like Bigfoot and what's that, chupacabra,
yeah.
Dogman,
Jersey Devil,
Mothman, exactly. So those are all cryptids. Yeti, Bigfoot goes by a number of names depending on where it is, of course. And every Indian nation has a name for this type of wild hairy man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So again, that kind of reinforces the belief that it exists.
It did exist at one point, or at least something very similar.
But even Loch Ness could be categorized as cryptid, I guess you would say. But yeah, I don't call myself a cryptozoologist. I've met Ken Gerhard and other people who do. It's funny because there's a cryptid and paranormal festival that I was a part of, the original ones that happens up in North Jersey. My friend Michael O'Connor sponsors that every year. He puts it together. So like last year, we had Mark Sermon and Mark Moran from Weird New Jersey there. We had Ron Moorhead of the Sierra Sounds fame. I got to interview him. Alec Pedikov.
You're dropping a lot of names.
A lot of names that people, who are into this topic might recognize.
There's other Squatchers listening, and they're going, fuck, he met that guy? And I have no idea who you're talking about, but please.
And, Esteban Sarmiento was there talking about Bigfoot's penis.
I like the name Esteban. I'm in on Esteban.
Me too, totally. But, Colombian man. I wasn't the speaker last year. I was participating at Squatch Talks podcast. So I had some casts, and I was interviewing.
Did you have like a booth set up?
I had a little booth right up front. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So again, it's happening again June 7th in Farmingdale. Okay. And this year he's got some big names coming. what's her name from Expedition Bigfoot? Maria Maya, Jeff Meldrum.
Okay.
Jeff Meldrum, by the way, is an anthropologist at Idaho State University. And this is a cast I got from Jeff. This is from Washington State, from 1982, from Grays Harbor, and that's a big boy.
That is a big.
That's a big boy.
Now, would you classify that as like a full-grown?
That's an adult.
That's an adult
male.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's
on their right foot, right?
Adult male. That is actually a right foot. Yeah, because keep in mind, and I should have brought a cast because I've done molds for use on my expeditions. But yeah, this is how it comes out of the ground. But in the ground, it's like this. So. This would actually be a right foot, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It is. It's very sweet, and that's a big boy.
That is a big boy.
This is a big girl. This is a big girl.
Now, how can you tell just from the foot that it's a female? Just the size?
Well, this particular cast is the Patty cast from Patterson-Gimlin from October 20th, 1967. So Roger and Bob Gimlin.
Okay.
Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin were doing a expedition to try to find Bigfoot, and they came across one squatted down by a creek in California, in Bluff Creek, and these were tracks that were left at that site.
So that's a fresh track that they cast.
That was a fresh track.
Wow.
This happens to be a recast that I got from Cliff Barrickman.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if you had the original cast from.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd probably be worth something, even though.
And so I've made molds out of this that I can use when I do my expeditions to teach people how to do a track casting demo.
Wow.
Rather than sticking my cast in
that looks like
Play-Doh.
Shaquille O'Neal's foot.
Right, it's a size 13.
Is it really?
Well, it's 14 and a half.
Well, what size is Shaq?
Probably
Shaq
about
probably
13.
looks like the fucking first one you showed me.
Probably. So again, that's
Is it possible
how I
that Shaq was
determine.
wearing a gorilla outfit in the middle of the woods?
Probably unlikely.
It's highly improbable.
You know what I mean?
Probably more likely that it was a Bigfoot.
And yes, 3% of our population has a foot that size.
3%.
But
So the chances of seeing a foot that big on a person,
is,
that's pretty fucking low.
it's low, but it's not impossible.
Not impossible.
But that's because I use Occam's razor to eliminate variables. I'm going to look at all those potential variables, right? I need to bring it with me. I have a Pine Barrens cast that we did on my first official New Jersey Pine Barrens expedition.
Okay.
That's like Patty's foot.
Okay.
Okay, and there were 2 track impressions found after it rained all night, and this was at a campsite in New Jersey. And it was funny because one of my attendees found the initial one, and I came down thinking it was going to be a misidentification. And as I'm squatted down looking at that, I looked to my left, and I said, "Oh, here's another one." And that's perfect, I said, because I'm going to do a track casting demo. Now we got real impressions.
How do you cast on in the field like that? Do you just like put
Yeah,
plaster
I
in
bring
it?
dental casting stone with me. Yeah.
Casting stone.
I
Okay,
mix
so
it
it's like a
up.
pre-mix,
Yeah,
like almost concrete.
And it's a powder that I mix with water, and then you pour it in, and it hardens.
How long does it take to harden?
Well, dental casting stone does heat up a little bit, so it can take usually 20 to 30 minutes to harden. I like to leave them in though as long as possible. I won't clean them for 24 hours at least.
What's your opinions on the world going to 89 seconds of midnight and the effect on the cryptids investigation?
89 seconds of midnight I'm not aware of, to be honest, Slayer. Not sure what that is exactly.
Yeah, what is that, Slay? What are you talking about? Because you stumped my cryptid guy. What the fuck?
I'd rather go to the other previous question with the advances in technology.
Yeah, so
It's a
the
matter
question
of
says,
time.
with the advances in technology, isn't it only a matter of time before it's all fact? And then okay, it's how close we are to global disasters, the 89 seconds to midnight. So whichever one you want to address first.
Well, as far as advances in technology, I mean, we've had some major advancements with, being able to see in the dark. I mean, I started out years ago with a monocular that was night vision, 3rd gen.
Yeah.
Now we've got 1st gen equipment. I've got, a couple of FLIR, thermal imagers that I can record not only pictures but
Now, are they
video.
like rifle optics, or are they just monoculars?
No,
or-
they're monoculars.
That's pretty
yeah.
sweet, though.
Yeah.
That's still pretty sweet.
And the one I have, the AGM, is unbelievable. I mean, it takes the guesswork out of it, basically.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I don't rely on them, but at least I know if a bear's coming up on me,
It really just makes it so that as long as he's there, you'll see him.
not necessarily.
Uh-oh.
And again, this goes back to the paranormal parallels, because I was up with Brian up in New York a few years ago, and Heather stayed back with Brian's girlfriend, and he and I went out. It was like 9 degrees out in December, and we went to a spot where we've had activity, and we're looking down. We're following these tracks in the snow. It looked like, turkey tracks, and then we saw bobcat tracks, and then there was a scuffle.
Oh, okay.
On the trail, right?
Okay.
We're looking down at where this scuffle took
See
place.
some shit went down.
And I hear footfalls coming up on us, like something's rushing us. So I went, whoa, something's coming. And I lifted up my FLIR, and there was nothing. Okay? But I squeezed the trigger for the image, right? And I had it set to take pictures. So I took a few pictures. Didn't look at it until well after I got home, right? Turns out there's an image of what looks like a Bigfoot. You can see the arms and everything, the legs, like going up the hill.
Okay. How
Weird.
far out? Like from you?
Like as far as from here to the corner. You know what I mean? Right
from
here.
you to Dwight.
To Dwight, yeah.
Okay.
And so, not far. We didn't see it. Brian had his same FLIR, too. I mean, this is a nice piece of equipment. You know what I mean? Clear as day.
They're expensive.
Yeah. And they definitely show what looks like a Bigfoot. And I've put that up on one of
in
our
a situation
episodes.
where you wouldn't have seen them with your bare eye.
No.
Definitely wouldn't have.
And this is another spot that has had previous encounters. And Brian also was hanging out where he was just sitting there by his vehicle and something came rushing up on him. And he actually felt like something passed through him. You know what I mean? Like he heard the footfalls coming. He quickly raised up his
Further
phone.
diving into. So you're expanding your paranormal reach, not only to find other paranormal sources, but you really think Bigfoot might be a ghost now.
I'm thinking, why, if people are entities at some point
Why
when
couldn't
we
Bigfoot
pass
be
on,
an
why
entity?
can't Bigfoot be an entity?
You know, I'm in on that too.
Right?
I'm in on that.
So that could explain why sometimes we have these reports that come in where it seems like they're cloaking or interdimensional or whatever.
Well, then the hopes of catching Bigfoot are never going to happen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. They haven't even figured out how to catch human ghosts yet, let alone a fucking 9-foot tall giant ape. All right, so the other question was, what's your opinions on the world going to 89 seconds to midnight, i.e. how close we are to global disaster, and the effect on the cryptids investigation?
Honestly,
It's a really good question, Slayer. Thank
It's
you.
a great question, but I'm a dummy. I don't really understand what the correlation is there, to be honest. Detention. So it's like the third
detonation.
Detonation. Yeah.
Oh, is it detention or detonation? It is detention. It's like the third dimension. Is that what you meant?
Dimension.
Third dimensional being.
Okay.
Well, we're 3-dimensional beings. What you're speaking of is a 4th dimension.
And it's funny, too, because I don't really understand the whole, what do they call that, quantum physics type stuff,
Yeah, me
right?
neither.
But I'm reading a book by Ron Moorhead
Okay.
called Quantum Bigfoot. So I'm starting to pick up a little bit, and I interviewed Ron at the last Cryptid Festival.
Okay.
But I still don't kind of grasp it fully. You know what I mean? So I'm not really versed on that.
What do you mean? After reading one book, you don't have a grasp on quantum mechanics?
I'm only
What
halfway
a
through.
Fucking schlub you are. Fucking
I'm a
lazy
slow
bastard.
learner. Yeah. Well, in my defense, I had this sciatica thing pop up last May, and it sucks. Okay, and it's kind of affected. That's why we didn't do an expedition last year. I took off a year.
Gotta stretch it out.
Oh, I know. I've
Stretch
been.
it out.
I've been. I got trigger point needles stuck in me today.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I do it every week.
Oh shit.
And but this book doesn't really explain it. And I interviewed Ron, but because the guests and the crowd and the vendors were all in the same area last year, it was hard to hear Ron. He's very soft spoken. He's an older guy now, So I said, hey Ron, we might have to get together again and do this because I can't hear you. But yeah, it's how does it? The effect on the cryptids, I don't know that there's going to be much of an effect on cryptid investigation. I mean, if it exists, 89 seconds of 88, 89
The
seconds.
89 seconds thing is between nuclear, environmental, and space is killing the Earth.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then my thought on that would affect us all.
Well, if it's killing the earth, the good news is if Bigfoot's a ghost, we'll be finding out at some point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we'll just be chilling like, hey.
Well, here, I'm going to say something on air for the first time. I'm going to say that 2025 is the year we're going to find out about it.
About what?
Bigfoot.
Okay.
We're going to get some real
You're certain of that?
definitive. Yeah, I really feel that way now. With, like I said, things are falling into place. I mean, we're out there, boots on the ground more than most people. I've got my next expedition scheduled for June in the Pine Barrens, and it's gonna be fun because, like I said, I got access to that property again too.
Okay.
So we're hopefully gonna get that paranormal parallel again.
Okay.
Right.
I should get you in contact with my friends at Beyond.
Yeah, I think you mentioned
Beyond
that.
Paranormal Investigation. They're good friends of mine as well.
It's funny though because after that took place and we were heading back to go to a different location, what I call the Grand Canyon of the Pine Barrens. Right, there's another on this property. It's like 2 a.m. we heard I did a couple of calls on the way out, did a knock, and we had 2 knocks come from that direction. So now we're heading over to this other section, which is like the Grand Canyon. I wanted to go up to the rim and take a group shot with the therm, right?
Yeah.
We get there. There's freaking equipment, heavy equipment in this pit with lights on and guys doing work. I'm like, I'm supposed to have access to this. What the hell are they doing here? Right? So I think, okay, I'm going to scare them out of here. So I do a loud-ass Bigfoot howl. They turn around. They start shining their big, bright lights at us, and they start heading across the pit towards us. So I'm like, all right, get down. Everybody gets down except for Patty's husband, Eric. He's standing there like this. He's a big guy. He's like, yeah, what you got?
So the biggest guy is standing there after making the howl.
After I made the howl, right?
And then the other people are heading towards you going, is that fucking Bigfoot?
So then, like, they're getting closer, and I don't know who these people are, right? So we all tear off. We're running. One of my friends, Bob from Massachusetts, he's laughing his ass off. Man, I haven't had that much fun in a long time. This guy, Jaden, freaking runs right into the fence. We just have a great time doing these things,
It sounds fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Sounds fun. You can kind of like, and if you don't find Bigfoot, you're out in nature. What's better than that?
Well, that's why I got into it to begin with. I told you that.
What, Google the 89 seconds to...
It's easier? Yeah.
Well,
that's a novel idea.
Give it a go, as
Dr. Google
Norman says. Mark Norman says.
I bet you get all this time. But a comparison or correlation to giants and Bigfoot.
What is it? 89 seconds. Oh, that's not Google. That's YouTube. Let's go back.
Yeah, there is some correlation there as well, Slayer, with the biblical, in the biblical sense. I'm going to keep talking while you're looking that up, if that's okay. And some people talk about the Nephilim, right?
The doomsday clock. What is 89 seconds to midnight? Hold on, let's put it right above my head. There you go. 89 seconds to midnight doomsday clock announcement signifies nuclear threat is greater than ever. This morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard, Tuesday, January 28th, so that's yesterday. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists reset the doomsday clock to 89 seconds to midnight, surpassing its previous setting of 90 seconds to midnight. All right, so I read that. Why did the one less second? Are they saying like that's the countdown? I bet you get this all the time, but there is a comparison or correlation to giants and Bigfoot because my friends that are enthusiastic say they are related.
And there's been giants found, skeletal, bodies found in the ground, and they allegedly were taken to Smithsonian, but they've disappeared apparently. But as I mentioned, that there is biblical association with this, and Nephilim, as I say.
Nephilim, yeah.
Nephilim. Mm-hmm. I put the accent on the wrong syllable.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. But that's what I've heard. I'm not an expert on that particular topic. And
what the fuck really to what, Slayer? How does that happen? How does which part, buddy? I'm sorry, the delays are kind of annoying sometimes.
They lost the Smithsonian you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? Again, that's the whole what the conspiracy theory thing is, right? So
don't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody.
The Smithsonian's lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
or
lost
misplaced.
A lot of shit.
You know,
There happened to be a lot of things that were in direct competition with the mainstream science theories.
Sure.
Anything that would deviate from what history has dictated.
Right, CRT, you know. But
CRT?
Again, yeah, critical race theory.
Okay.
You know, that diverts from what we were taught as children, you know. Not to get political, but
I would have to dive into it a little bit more to know what we're talking about.
again, and I'm not an expert on the Bible, you know.
I'm definitely not.
But there,
Jew.
Look at David and Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
Goliath, right? That was a giant story, and so there have been stories passed down over the generations. And again, there's been wild man stories passed down over the generations. People growing up in Appalachia, they're used to living side by side with these what they call the wild man of the woods, you know. And they if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone, kind of thing. For the most part, that's true.
That just sounds like an Appalachian homeless person.
That's
You know
just
what I mean?
Travis.
Yeah, I mean, there's no street corner for them to beg at, so they're just running rampant in the woods eating mushrooms they probably shouldn't. You know what I'm
Probably.
saying? Flipping out.
Mm-hmm.
Shitting in your creek. And the Giants thing, I've always thought, I mean, didn't they always say, like, colonial people were short, like my height, your height, they were short, like under 6 foot is like, it was like 5'6" was the average.
Yeah.
So like my buddy who also happens to be named Dustin, he's like 6'8". And if you saw a 6'8" dude walking around when everybody else is like 5 something, you'd be like, holy shit, giants.
Yeah,
you'd be like, giants. And if that dude was really hairy running through the woods, maybe Bigfoot. You never know. You never know.
And there are, again, people who have a condition, I forget what it's called, that they're covered in hair.
Yeah, they look like the Wolfman.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know that. What's that? Hold on, let's Google that.
There is a
that's something I want to know.
Yeah, term for that. But, and that actually explains that there was a woman who was apparently a Bigfoot, although they call it Almasty in Russia. And I forget her name now, but she allegedly bore offspring with some of the men in the village. Apparently, I think most of them died, but one lived. So yeah, she was,
It's
captured.
definitely not uncombable hair syndrome, right?
No.
Okay. The first AI result: uncombable hair syndrome. When I wrote genetic mutation.
That's what I got going on.
Uncontrollable hair.
That's what I got going on today. Uncontrollable hair syndrome.
My hair grows like a motherfucker, dude. I gotta get my hair cut like once every other week or so. All right. What's the Wolfman one called? What did you say? That's just what I was going to ask next. The Wolfman one? Yeah, we're working on it. Wolfman.
I should have kept my phone close.
Or whatever it's called. I'm gonna just call it Wolfman disease.
Well, again, these are stories that have been reported, right?
Hypertrichosis.
Trichosis. That's exactly
Hypertrichosis,
what it is, yes.
Also known as werewolf syndrome.
Exactly.
It's a condition that causes excessive hair growth. It's also known. Yeah, there you go.
That'll work. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
hypertrichosis.
All it takes is one homeless person with hypertrichosis, and boom, Bigfoot theory is born.
The legend is born.
The legend is born.
SASQUATCH.
Yeah.
The Legend of Bigfoot. And that's the movie that did it for me back. And I told you this the first time we talked.
Yeah.
That's the one that set it off for me as a 10-year-old growing up in Smithtown, Long Island, and scared the crap out of me. And it's been ever since. That's my...
And that's exactly how I feel about stand-up comedy. I used to go... My dad would take a nap right around like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and it would be our weekend with him. So I would sneak out into the family room at the time, and it had the TV and it had the stereo. And he had all of his CDs alphabetized and all that, and he had all of his George Carlin CDs.
Oh, nice.
So I would go in and I would put in my Walkman, my little disc player.
Yeah, man.
And I would listen to George Carlin in secret.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't even allowed to watch South Park. I would sneak that. I would actually watch South Park in the reflection of a picture that was perfect, that I would see a mirrored image of everything. So I didn't actually see it in its original format for like 2 years.
Yeah, I listened to George back then, too.
Yeah.
He'd
already been around for decades at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're talking, I'm 9-10 years old, before Y2K.
Right.
Yeah. People were worried that the fucking computers were going to take over.
But, as far as the hypertrichosis thing is concerned, I don't think that's what's going on.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think so either.
Although I've had some pineys tell me, "Oh, that's just Travis." You know, we've had reports come in.
That's just Bo. He's special.
He's special.
He's special.
We love him anyway.
Now, here's a fun question. Have you run into any type of weird rituals while out on the trail? Because I've had paranormal investigators go remote, and they purposely try and go where no people usually go, and they come across like fucking weird altars, sacrificial like little slates,
goat's blood.
Yeah, and
Well,
whatchamacallit, I've had paranormal investigators, they were ghost hunters, actually say they walked in on a ritual, like people in robes and shit, and they're like, we gotta fucking go.
well, yeah, I've come across residual ritual, but I haven't personally come across it
Like a live
you know what I
ritual.
mean? Exactly.
Okay.
But I have a friend who would participate in that type of ritual. Okay. And she and I were out together in the Pine Barrens on St. Patty's Day, 2010, and it was kind of gloomy and rainy and cold. So we headed back around 12:30. We left the spot, and around 10 after 1, we had a road crossing coming back into Medford. Okay, and this sucker tore out in front of my vehicle. I told you, I almost hit him. She slid forward. What the F was that? I said, deer. No, it wasn't. Yeah. But her group, people she knows that go out and do these types of things at the full moon out in the Pine Barrens, you know, have had some experiences with Bigfoot, too.
Okay.
And that's what kind of is funny. They actually shot at one.
Shot at one?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound smart.
Nah, not to me. But before they shot at him, the high priest guy says to her, "Is this your effing friend?" Thought I was in a costume, you know, doing the chicken dance. While they were, you know, cooking their goat's blood and dancing under the stars, right? So they then went and got guns and shot at this individual. I went the next day to check it out because I heard about it. I didn't find any evidence of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But at the same time, at this particular location, I fired a handgun once, and I couldn't find the empty, you know, casing for it either, you know, so who knows. I did find evidence of, like, dead wild turkeys and stuff, though. But, yeah, another area.
Always negative energy also. Yeah, he's talking about the rituals.
But, and that's the thing. Like, we just did this episode, the last episode
In the blue hole.
The blue hole.
The blue hole.
There was a fire ring there. And, you know, anytime that areas are associated with the Jersey Devil.
Sure.
Okay, and this is going to answer both of your questions, Slayer, so stay tuned. The first one being, what is a cryptid that is way too far-fetched? Okay. Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil, for sure.
In my opinion, that one.
The
okay?
most far-fetched of
The
them.
most far-fetched.
Both in origin story and in, like, what it apparently looks like.
Exactly. There's so many different descriptions of the Jersey Devil. That's one thing that should kind of let you know that it is too far-fetched, right? But anytime the devil or Jersey Devil is associated with an area, there's going to be these people who come and do these ritual-type stuff around there. So even at the Blue Hole in Winslow, there was a fire ring at one point. It's now been broken up, where I believe that they probably had partaked in some of this activity, okay? But yeah, you know, I always piss off the people in Jersey when I talk about the Jersey Devil, because I believe it's folklore that's been perpetuated over the years because of misidentifications with people having encounters with Bigfoot, you know?
Sure. I'm here for the whole ride, baby. Yeah.
Well, you said it.
Well, here's the whole ride for you, for those who don't know. Story behind the Jersey Devil. The creature is believed to be the unwanted 13th child of the mother Leeds.
Debbie Leeds.
Debbie Leeds. According to those in the know, Mother Leeds, before the birth of her 13th child, declared that she wished the devil would take the child away after it was born.
Let this one be the devil,
Let
she
this
said.
one be the devil. And then look at the fucking mutant camel shit they come up with. Look at this.
Well,
Look
that's
at
my
this
favorite
fucking
one.
nonsense.
That's the
Here, let me
one
move
that-
your. Let me
that's- yeah, move
your,
me out of the way. You can delete
Yeah,
me.
get your sweet ass.
Get my
over here.
my mug out of there.
Oh, that's not right.
No,
Slayer.
There you go.
Get your sweet ass over here. Yeah, look at that fucking thing. It looks like a camel fucked a bat.
And
And
a
a
giraffe.
And then look at these the fucking clippity clop fucking.
And that
look at my
one-
hooves.
That one doesn't even show the forked tail.
No.
You know?
Hold on, let's see if we can find one with a fork and tail.
That one with the wings that look like a bat on the right, second column down.
This one?
To the right. You're on the right.
Hold on, am I even...
The one flying on the second row down. That's the one. Yeah, look at the fork and tail.
The fucking face.
That's like a Wendigo.
The Jersey Devil, guys. Hey, don't fucking shoot me. I might be Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, I think we talked about this in the first episode we did, but I believe that most reports that come in with Jersey Devil are usually associated with some alcohol or substances involved.
Yeah,
usually.
You know what I mean? It's been my experience that anybody who's ever claimed they've seen the Jersey Devil was also picking at their forehead and chewing on air hoagies. They're like, yeah, I seen him. Yeah, I totally seen him.
Yeah, he's there.
Now, as a guy who believes in aliens and ghosts and stuff, I have to give it a little bit of life, only because who the fuck knows?
No doubt. I don't put anybody's opinion down,
Slayer asked, in the cryptid community, is it frowned upon to actually hurt these mythical creatures with guns?
Hunt or hurt?
Hunt or hurt, yeah.
But again, it's okay.
Has a light on it.
For me, it's frowned upon because I don't want to hunt. I don't want to hunt them.
You want to learn.
I want to learn about their, and gather as much, data as I possibly can. If I had just clipped the one that ran out in front of me that night, though, I would have solved this mystery, right? So theoretically, that could have done it right there. There are groups, though, in this, career that they do go out actively trying to hunt one down and get a specimen because they feel that's the only way to prove to science that it exists.
Now, if they prove he exists, what then?
What then? Right.
What then?
Yeah.
What's your next step? Are you trying to get grants and funding to do what? What are we going to do? We're going to clone a fucking Bigfoot?
And the guy who shoots him is not going to get that funding.
Right.
That's going to go to scientists.
Right.
Even
if you're out there with a group and you find him, you're really just kind of happy to get a picture of him and maybe
I'm
a
happy
fucking
to get a whoop or a knock.
Maybe a whoop. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is a whole different vibe. Like you first of all, like you have no intention to hurt him. Maybe that's why you hear so much of him. Maybe that's why you see, because maybe if he's an interdimensional being.
And that's part of it. Like we actually go out and I'll sit there and think good thoughts, welcoming thoughts, loving thoughts, and be like, hey, we're not here to harm you.
Because you don't speak English. You definitely don't have a Jersey accent.
And I have tried speaking Native American to him as well. We have like a list of translations to, like, hey, you got meat, but it's in Native American because we feel that they came across the Bering Straits, Bering Straits, that too. And, at the same time, early humans crossed over and they probably kind of coexisted side by side over the years, And they also saw, the European settlers coming and how maybe they, reacted with being...
Maybe they just dove into the hollow earth, man, and they're chilling in there with Loch Ness Monster.
Why not? If they have entrances to it, why not utilize that as a safe haven,
Yeah.
To bed down in, especially during inclement weather. Jersey, we don't have it in the South, though. We don't have cave systems here.
No, not particularly. You got to go more Appalachian Trail.
Northern.
Yeah.
And Appalachian.
We got a lot of swamps and heavily wooded areas, and
so I think the cedar swamps is where they typically will bed down, and also mountain laurel groves are, I think, where they have like nursery areas and where they kind of leave the kids while they're out foraging. Okay, but cedar swamps are typically cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter, so that's one of the primary habitats I do research in. And plus, cedar trees, these white Atlantic cedars, are just the best to do wood knocks on. So
because they got a good acoustic to them.
It resonates.
Yeah. Okay. And you in big trouble for hunting an endangered animal. You can't even call it an endangered animal. Don't they have to discover it first?
Exactly. And the thing is, like, they are as of yet undiscovered.
Yeah.
Right?
So technically, you can take a 30-30 and put a round in one if you can find one.
I have a customer who shot one, and he shot him in the shoulder, and this thing went like this. It kind of just flinched. He was looking over an 8-foot privacy fence, by the way. That's why the guy shot him, because it's.
I think you told me that story.
Right.
I think you told me that story.
He just kind of and then walked away.
That also sounds like meth. Just a big hairy dude on some glass, you know what I mean?
You never know.
Yeah, I didn't feel
Crystal,
shit.
Hey, it's all you got. But no, it's I've spoken with hunters who had them in their crosshairs and they couldn't pull the trigger because it looked too human. and they didn't know if they were killing a person.
Okay.
So again, there's that part of it. I happen to believe they are, like I said, probably a relic hominid, more so than a great ape.
Okay. You think it's like the missing link between us and
quite possibly
great apes?
And some of us Bigfooters think of it as Gigantopithecus blackie, which is a giant ape from historic times, prehistoric times.
Is that its name? Is Gigantopithecus blackie?
Yeah, that's something.
Okay.
And then there's another anthropologist guy I know, Tom, who's going to be talking at an event in Bucks County in March. He's written a lot of books about Roswell also.
Ooh, okay.
I don't think it was Tom's last name. It's escaping me at the moment, but he thinks it's Proanthropus robustus. I happen to go more with the Heidelbergensis theory.
Proanthropus what?
Say that
What the
3
fuck?
times. Proanthropus robustus.
I just started learning how to say Gigantopithecus. All right, so
Gigantopithecus.
what is it?
I think it's Proanthropus. I might say it wrong. Proanthropus robustus.
I don't even know how to fucking spell that.
I would just go with the
Proanthropus.
Heidelbergensis is the one I think it is. So, fuck Proanthus. Proanthus, maybe.
Proanthos?
Proanthus, yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
That's a bug.
Okay. Well, again, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
Oh.
But with the Heidelbergensis and my friend Ben, formerly from PA, now in Virginia, is a researcher friend of mine. He came on my show and did, we call it the evolution of Sasquatch.
Okay.
Okay, so he goes into all this theory about the how it came about and all that. He talks about Heidelbergensis and with the sagittal ridge, the crest.
Okay. Kind of like an orangutan?
Kind of, yeah. And some of those qualities. But it's an interesting episode. But let's get into something fun. Speaking of Ben, we
have the new segment. Fuck
we
Ben.
we got a new hashtag coming up, folks.
It used to be Fuck Todd.
Hashtag.
And you
fuck
have to go
Todd.
back to the episode 2 or 3 on Dust Off the Mic to find out why Fuck Todd. But okay, now you said there's a new hashtag.
A new hashtag coming, folks.
Go on.
Because we were at the Whitehall Festival last September.
Okay.
And this is a Squatch calling contest, and they have vendors and speakers and stuff. So this is my first time attending up in Whitehall, New York. Okay, but we camped out right across the border in Vermont. Beautiful campground, right on the lake and everything. So on Saturday we had the festival, and nobody wanted to head over real early because the actual Squatch calling contest didn't happen till like the evening. So we got there probably around 2:00. And we're checking out the vendors and all that, talking to people. I got to meet Paul Bartholomew, who's
You about to drop more names? I have no
again,
idea.
very big ghost,
Okay.
paranormal kind of guy. Right?
I'll have to make note of some of
And
these.
he
You have
was
to give me a
set up-
list.
He was set up right next to Steve Culls, who was the MC for the event.
Okay.
Okay, Squatch Detective, Squatch D from New York.
Okay.
But yeah, this was my first time attending. I was filming as we went along. So, it comes to the point when the contest is about to start, and Brian Spinner was the 2022 winner
Right.
of the event. So he was there to defend his title. He didn't go in 2023 because he came on my Pennsylvania expedition instead.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there. It's 2024. I'm worried enough about Brian and his set of lungs. He's a big guy, right?
Mhm.
So I go to walk down. It's like an amphitheater. I go to walk down. All my group is up on the seats up there on the wall. And as I'm heading down, I hear Eric. And I turn and look up, and there's Ben, who was a guy on our Pennsylvania expedition.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what kind of howl he's got. He's got great howl, right? I'm like, Ben? I said, what the fuck you doing here? I'm like, oh, shit. I got to step my game up, I got worried enough about Brian. He's like, oh, I just came down. I said, well, you're by yourself? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and he's like, oh, you got the team with you? I'm like, yeah. So we get in line. So Ben's in front of me, and then Brian's behind me. So I'm sandwiched between Ben and Brian. Okay? I get up. I do a few knocks with my Squatch stick that I had. I do a couple of whoops, and I do an Ohio howl, which is a long, drawn-out howl. And I'm thinking, yeah, I got this. Ben did an Ohio howl, and so did Brian, right? judging comes up. They had a guy take third place from Australia. He's from down under, so he got the third place. And this other dude got second place. And when they called the winner, it was number 43, who was Ben. I was 44.
Fuck Ben.
Fuck Ben.
Hashtag
So,
fuck Ben.
so now whenever I ask, hashtag fuck Ben.
Hashtag fuck Ben. I still think fuck Todd Moore. I know I got the award and everything, and that's your boy and your mentor, but fucking left you hanging. Was there a rise in cryptid hunters after certain movies or TV shows that made this career more competitive, or is it the more the merrier?
Absolutely. There was a rise after finding Bigfoot.
What a good question, Slayer. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, finding Bigfoot is really what did it.
Finding Bigfoot. Okay.
Oh yeah, and we know as part of the BFRO, I have access to flats, the field logging and tracking system. So yeah, when that show was on air on, I guess, Animal Planet, the reports just came in, and of course a lot from juveniles that wanted to meet Bobo. But yeah, it's definitely brought a lot more attention to the topic. And then of course now you have Expedition Bigfoot, and I can't stand this show. I hate to say it out loud, but
Expedition
Bigfoot on what is it, Discovery Channel. So yeah, those kind of shows really did bring a lot of mainstream attention to it. And
would you say it's like the more the merrier out there, or is it like is it more like, it's not for everybody? You shouldn't.
It's gotten to the point though where certain areas like Salt Fork, Ohio, where they have the Ohio Bigfoot Conference every year, right? That's one of the conferences, but it's so squatched out. Like even
squatched out.
It's like Northwest Allegheny.
Well, you'd think the more people out there, the more chances.
You would think,
yeah.
Right. But keep in mind, we're not wildlife photographers either. You know what I mean? We're not.
True.
We're not, specifically trained to do this kind of stuff. We're what we call citizen scientists. And so, people always say, why isn't there a clear photo or a clear video of it? There actually are, but they're not necessarily proof. And now with AI, of course, it's going to be even more questions.
Sure.
But I've seen pretty compelling evidence in that sense, but it's not enough to change the scientist's mind, of course, so they want that specimen. That's why I sent these eDNA samples to my guy, and I took, speaking of the blue hole, while we were there, we not only took underwater footage to dispel the myth that it's bottomless, right? I also took an eDNA sample. So who knows of the water.
Okay.
So who knows? I bet that's the first time that's ever been done.
What do you hope to find by getting a sample of the water?
To potentially see what life,
Yeah, because they can DNA check that, and they'd be like, "Hey, this one's got carp in it. It's got snapping turtles."
Well, and that's the thing. Like one of the myths associated with it is that there's no
life in that.
No life in it, right? It maintains a specific temperature year round. It doesn't freeze. Blah blah blah. People have been dragged down. They've lost eyeballs. They've come out scratched and bleeding.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of different folklore. I call it urban legend, but. I was a little underwhelmed. We call it the underwhelming blue hole.
The underwhelming blue hole.
Or as we said, butthole.
The butthole. Slayer says, "Oh shit! I hope it comes back huge, fam."
Yeah, man.
I'm
still waiting for the previous stuff we sent from Cape Horn, though.
Okay.
I mean, he did extract
the fur,
DNA.
The fur you were saying.
Well, that's one. Yeah, there was two. The bear
and
scat.
then the bear shit. You said you're convinced it's bear shit.
Well, but the Cape Horn one, I took out. I went with Art for a night op, and in the daytime, I had found 2 tracks. So that was on the outside of the puddle. By the time we had gotten back, it had evaporated more. We actually found a trackway leading through the little pond. And I dipped my sample into a track impression filled with water.
That sounds hot.
You know what I mean? So that potentially could yield something.
Yeah.
And he said that there is DNA, and now they're trying to sequence it. So.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Sounds
my
promising.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, but you had asked, at the start of this whole thing, what's been happening. That's one of the things that's been happening.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I kind of had that setback over the past year, though, with the sciatica. So it wasn't out as much. Didn't get, to do a lot of things. Although attending that festival was fun, and I participated in another event in Bucks County last year. I was the Bigfoot guy.
Oh.
So I was the last one on. I was the speaker for the Bigfoot. And it's funny, too, because I said to the presenter, Eric Mantel, who put it on, I was like, wow, isn't the last performer on, the headliner.
Yeah. You were a headliner.
I was the headliner,
for a cryptid,
right?
Cryptid
For
convention. That's
Cryptid
pretty
Festival.
sweet.
Bill Burns
pretty
was
sweet,
there.
dude.
Tom Casey, that's who it was. Tom Casey, who's written all these books on Roswell.
That name sounds familiar.
And there was a few other people. Eric Mintel and Dominic were talking. So I joked around with Eric, of course. Like, hey, I'm the headliner. But yeah, so that's stuff that we've done. You know, I've been out, but not as much as I'd like to be. So I'm really looking forward to, with the weather warming up, getting back out and continuing the search for the elusive Sasquatch.
Slayer asked, "What do you think could be the benefits of medical advantages in their DNA, especially if they are fourth dimension beings, or could it bring travesty or new diseases?" What the fuck, Slayer? Are you asking AI sweet questions to ask about Bigfoot? Holy shit! All right, go.
Well, you know, that's the thing. The benefits of medical advantages. I mean, obviously, just like with Native Americans, we're affected by smallpox and other diseases that we brought over here from Europe.
Yeah,
that potentially could have an impact on their, numbers. You would think, right? However, at the same time, because if one is injured or hurt by like an explosion, like Mount St. Helens or whatever, and they were able to airlift it to safety and potentially offer it medical help, that could help preserve the species as well. So I think it kind of goes both ways in that sense. I don't think it's going to necessarily bring any new diseases to our culture.
he's saying like because they're fourth dimensional. What if there's like a disease that our bodies and minds can't even comprehend that they bring in?
Again, it's just
Don't bang one. Don't bang one.
That's like way over my pay grade as far
Or
as
banging a
the whole-
Bigfoot,
No, well,
or as far as the information. I
hey,
just
I'm
read.
not opposed to I'll take one for the team if that's what it.
I mean, you're pretty passionate about your Bigfoots. I imagine if there was one person.
However, that's why I brought Heather on board. We tie her up to the tree naked and lather her with peanut butter.
There you go. That was my next question. Anna says I can't. What? Anna says you can't bang Bigfoot? What the fuck? I'm not surprised that that's a conversation you've had already. Honey, if I find Bigfoot, may I fuck him?
Honestly, I don't think that I would want to, just because they smell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a little funny about smelling like shit while I'm doing the act.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't really turn me on. But hey, like I said, I've had occasions out in the forest where
It was questionable. You thought
my virginity was at stake.
Your Bigfoot anal cherry about to be popped hard. Popped by a 9-foot orangutan.
I told you the story about getting growled at, right?
You did, yeah.
I did,
You told me.
Uh-oh.
You told me. No,
Time's up, folks.
No. It's just my computer bitching.
Gotta go.
Jesus Christ.
I hadn't been growled at. I've had shit thrown at me.
Yeah, you had the hand, the story that I had clipped up.
The one where he pushed his hand
through on the tent.
Yeah, I think he was kind of hoping to,
Now, I do have to clarify one thing.
Yeah.
You said Todd was nowhere to be found. He wasn't answering the radio. I'd had several people after that episode ask me, what if it was just Todd fucking around? What proof do you have that it wasn't Todd?
Knowing Todd, he had already been in this research for almost 2 decades at that point.
He's not a guy who's just
he's not going to
play around
and find out.
Okay,
fair guy. He's not,
and that's fair. And I would take your opinion on that.
He's not an
sure.
FAFO kind of guy.
Yeah,
you know
fair
what
enough.
I mean? And
okay, then I can go back to being pissed at Todd. It wasn't him fucking with you.
And secondly, the second part of that though is he also, after I passed out from the adrenaline rush, he heard it come back into base camp 10 minutes later, and tried to get his therm out with the monopad over the dome of his tent, but he couldn't get it up high enough to get the image of this individual coming back into the center of camp. Okay, neither one of us got anything on our digital recorders either. No, there's no government funding at all for my career.
No,
in
this
this
is passion
topic.
projects only in the private sector.
Right, but there is funding. There's, instead of government funding, there's GoFunding available. And I am gladly
You can
happy.
also visit Health Haven 2
You
in
can come to
Medford, New
Health Haven
Jersey.
too, and you can also come and purchase some Squatch Talks soap from Yeti
Yeah.
Bars. Let's go to
Yeti Bars.
YetiBars.net, And
Let's fucking go.
yeah, man, and use STP10, you get 10% off your order in the discount code. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not too many Bigfoot podcasts have their own bar soap.
No.
And it has red cedar shavings in there too, which exfoliates your dry skin and really cleans you up nice. So remember to use STP10 at checkout.
Slayer's a good guy to know, by the way, if you're looking to do like.
Funding?
Well, no, not funding. Probably not. He's a broke bitch like me. But no, like if you're looking to do live on Twitch,
well, he's
with
not a
these,
broke
like,
back bitch.
I was just telling Eric. Fuck. I was just telling Eric Slayer that if he wanted to do live, like at location, he probably could on Twitch. So you know, you have it all set up on your phone. You could totally. And he said he'll promote that.
I'm twitching.
Most of the viewers twitch.
It's this SASQUATCH coffee I'm drinking, man.
See, but here's the thing, man. Like, you go onto Facebook, and that's why I laughed. I'm going to change the topic just to kind of go back. I laughed when Zuckerberg said he's going to make, like, Facebook as open season as
and
X.
fact check.
No, as Twitter. Like, how, you know how, like, X and Twitter is it's like the fucking Wild West, dude. Bringing complete and utter freedom to Facebook is like bringing a gangbang in the middle of a retirement home. It's like, why is his dick out? Like, why is everybody dying? Like, my grandparents are on Facebook, dude. Let them have some mystery in the world.
Please, you know. But no, Zuckerberg just goes with whatever, you know, suits his needs.
Right.
So depending on who's in charge, that's where his loyalty is going to go.
So the reason I say that is like, yeah, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, and as well, your channels are doing good.
Instagram, I got the IG.
Squatch Talks. You know, I think this is the crowd that appreciates what you do.
Not Reddit.
I mean, sure, Reddit. Sure, Reddit likes it, but I mean,
Should I get a Discord?
but how many
Slayer, should I get a Discord?
how many people on Twitch are dedicated, you know, cryptid investigators or paranormal investigators, Bigfoot hunters? Like, it'd be super cool. It's super cool.
Yeah.
You know, you can go on site, bring
See,
those
but
mics with you.
I won't do TikTok.
You don't have to do TikTok.
As long as I don't have to do
Shorts.
TikTok.
Do YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. I mean, I was fully committed to not having TikTok anymore until Trump brought it back.
Yeah, well,
Until Trump brought it back.
we'll see. We'll see if it lasts. I'm sure it will, but again,
It'll be
it's
fucking
just
fine. I mean, that was such a weird thing to do for the government to say you can't have this.
Right.
It exists. It's here. It's available. You clearly like it, but you just can't fucking have
I
it.
just don't like that China has the power over it. That's my problem with it.
But America has the power of the other four that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I hear
your information's already getting siphoned. You know, you get calls, scam calls, probably
totally, every day.
Yeah, the only person who remembers to call me every day is a fucking scam caller.
Potential spam.
Yeah.
You know? But nah, man.
What's China gonna do with my information?
I am going to come back here off air and pick your brain because I like what you got going on here with the Slayer vision going on and all that, you know. But yeah, I'm very, very far behind, and you know, because we got that 10 to 6 gig that I'm doing during the day, you know, obviously,
that's
all
right.
This has to take
one thing you'll find about Twitch is most people are it's you can do it at any time of the day and you'll be fine.
Would Twitch benefit my health food business as well? Or
I don't
not?
know. Probably. I can. Well, you can set up like merch and stuff like that, and you can set up website links to your store. See, Slayer saying, yeah.
See, because that's what I'm thinking. Like,
Huge.
I've been devoting my talents to doing the Squatch Talks podcast, but I haven't promoted my store in years.
Well, it's like anything else. If you want to, you just start networking out, and you just start, you know, asking what works, you know, feeling it out, and then maybe what everybody says works kind of works for you up to a point, and then you pivot a little. That's what I do.
Okay.
You know, I just try and make it mine as close to my comfort level as possible. You know,
Sure.
And you can probably do a lot with Twitch when it comes to your store with your show.
My goal is to eventually be able to retire from the health food business
And go full-time Squatch.
and go full-time squatching
Fuck yeah.
and do voiceover type stuff.
Ooh, I would listen to mad shit with your voice on it. We got that lust of voice.
I mean, I would definitely, like, you know, my friend Cameron, who has Dixie Cryptids channel, he's got like 250,000 followers on YouTube.
Okay.
Right? And he's got this southern drawl, so he's a good storyteller. But I mean, you know, can you imagine me reading people's emails and be like, "Hey, John sent me this email from
I would like to
Kentucky."
hear you narrate a animal documentary. Now watch as the penguin brings her a pebble.
You know, and that's funny.
And then
you
he
say
lays that bird dick down. You know what I mean?
Because I listen to those shows, right? Oops.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Now you fucking broke
I'm
it.
broken. Sorry.
You fucking
got a
broke.
limp mic here.
Yeah. It's worked for other people. I don't know why you're not getting it up. This happens.
Creamy.
It's your first time in the studio. I understand
Hey,
the jitters.
first time caller, long time listener.
Creamy,
I'm
buttery
sticking-
voice.
yeah, it would
Brought
be
to
a
you by
world in
Squatch
danger.
Talks podcast.
Yes, you too can learn to talk on radio.
You can.
But no, seriously.
Smoke about
I've
1,000
listened-
cigarettes.
You know, Planet Earth, right? Those documentaries, and they got these schmucks doing the narration. I'm thinking, you know what?
I mean, I love David Attenborough.
I was going to say, except
you
David.
take David Attenborough. You take that back,
I
David
take that back,
Attenborough.
David. We love
Watch
you, brother.
as Dustin punches Eric in the face for
Didn't
making fun of
Didn't
Mr.
he pass
Attenborough.
on, though?
I don't think he's still alive.
No, I think he died.
I think he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm willing to
Hold on.
jump in. Put me in, coach.
I'm gonna Google that. Dave Attenborough.
He's getting too old to do this stuff, though. Come on.
I will do this until they put me in the
I will
grave.
do this until they put me in the
Attenborough,
grave. And the spotted zebra is a prey
Sir
animal.
David Attenborough.
Sir Attenborough.
David Cert. God, I can't fucking spell.
No, you couldn't. You can't read either, so that's okay.
Attenborough. There we go.
without my glasses. Anyway,
I'm gonna do my best to
we
read
love
this.
David Attenborough.
Yeah, he's still alive.
And his daughter, too.
Right?
She's good, too, again. I just think that, you know, there could be a potential slot, right?
Yeah.
There's a big outfit called, not huge, but they're like a...
He's 98 years old.
Exactly, so...
So, yeah, well, he's not dead yet. But he's... But he will be soon.
Thank you, Lord.
Hopefully he dies behind a camera explaining the mating habits of buffalo.
You remember, what's that guy's name who did the WIP nutrition talk show? Jim Corey. You remember Jim Corey?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Okay.
So, fun fact. You know, I used to listen to sometimes his episode, and I think, what, has he got a microphone in my shop? Is he listening to me or what, right? Is he spying on me? And then my ex and I were going to church one day, and I hear on the radio that he passed on. And I look over at her, and I said, well, I think they got a time slot available. Right? So I happen to have been one of their, DJs was a client of mine, all right? And he hooked me up with Candace, who was the station manager at the time. I sent her a CD. Back then was CDs, and her response was, well, I'm not really in the market for a nutrition talk show. I said, why not? You just lost the guy.
Sure.
But I think it was because I called her Candy instead of Candace. She might have taken offense to that.
she might have taken
I was a little
offense.
too personal.
That's
so.
all right.
Anyway, a week
You
later.
don't want to work with somebody that sensitive anyway.
And you know what? It worked out for me because a week later I was on CBS 3 Eyewitness News as the vitamin guy.
Yeah.
So we did that stint for about a year.
Got a lot of hats. What is that? Okay. Old alert, JK. Haha. I remember tracks. You got me, brother.
Google Earth made
Cumberbatch. Yeah.
Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. He's like penguin.
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 Penguin. Penguin.
Well, in one of these episodes we did on CBS 3, they had an emu.
Matrix.
They had an emu that had escaped in Pennsylvania, near Philly.
Diet ostrich.
And the person reading the story didn't know how to say emu. So I got to correct her.
How were they saying it?
Emu or something like that. No,
At
it's
least they
actually-
weren't like Emma.
It was emu.
Emu.
Emu oil.
I had a buddy of mine who had ostriches growing up.
Plus, speaking of emu,
And speaking of
we have a new cream available at Health Haven too.
emu cream.
It's an MSM. It's a CBD cream, a salve actually. Salve.
Salve.
You say salve. You say salve or salve.
I don't know what either of those are, so we're gonna go with whatever you are comfortable.
It's kind of
with.
like a balm, but
I
creamier.
say balm.
You say balm.
Yeah. If it's there, you gotta say the L. It's not silent. It's not a silent L.
Give the baby a balm.
Ooh, nice pivot. Do people reach out to your job for big animal control? Has anybody ever just said, "Fuck, there's a squatch in my backyard"? I'll let you know right now. If I find one, I'm calling you. I'm not calling the fucking
Can't
news.
say
I'm not
that.
calling the cops. Fuck the
Can't
police.
say bomb on a plane. Hey, honey, pass me the bomb.
Bomb.
My ass is itching. I got this
I
rash.
need some emu balm.
got a rash.
All right, so you have this salve,
No, but
which is a balm.
I was plugging the store. Thank you, Slayer. I was plugging the store for a minute. Shameful self-promotion.
Plug in the store with his balm.
At Health Haven too. But yeah, I got this balm or salve that has CBD, MSM, emu oil, turmeric as we say. It has black seed oil and arnica. I mean, it's an amazing product. So if you do have any itchy ass or joint pain or discomfort, come check us out. Because Health Haven, too, is sponsoring this episode. Neglected to mention that.
The first officially sponsored episode brought to you by Health Haven 2.
Produced.
made
Executive
from
producer.
fresh emus. What's this shit? The
We
solve
squeeze
called?
their little asses to get the emu oil out, All right, this has gone downhill
Who looked at
quick.
that big fucking bird and just, I gotta get me
I
the
gotta
oil out of that
squeeze my
bastard.
smash. I
Give
know
me
if
your
I
oil,
squeeze
you
his ass.
stretched out chicken fuck. I need some of your butt oil. Roast
Getting back to the big animal control. Actually, I have had people come into the shop and say, whoa, I'm not here to talk about nutrition.
Yeah.
I'm talking Bigfoot.
We're talking squatches.
Okay, and
Fuck everything else you got going on that makes you money.
And we've had instances where we get in a report and I'm out there the next day following up with the witness. So nothing gets better than that.
So you get leads.
Oh, totally.
Holy shit.
That's why I don't keep it a secret.
It's like American Pickers. You got somebody back at base
at
going,
base camp, yeah. And plus, I
got one.
I don't follow the flats every day, but I got these younger bucks that are on board with me that are newer, and they check that out Hey, Eric, we got a report in from your area, whatever,
That's
But literally, they come in and they tell me their stories, right? But we've had reports come in, and I've gone out the next day, investigated, followed up. In fact, the episode prior to the Blue Hole is Whiting. We had a guy out with his dog, see a Bigfoot, right? And we were out there. It's again another entertaining episode, if I might say.
Check it out.
We got bullets flying around us as we're doing the recreation. No shit. What the fuck? I'm telling you, I'm like, this is effed up.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I mean? Like literally flying over my head. But that's the kind of shit we'll do to get the story.
And between our two passions, I thought I was the one who was going to get shot at first.
No, me too, but
Yeah. But you beat me. You win.
I've heard bullets before out in the forest, but usually they're further away. These were literally like whizzing at amazing speed.
Yeah, once you know what it
Whizzing
is,
around.
hearing that noise is probably terrifying.
Yeah.
That's probably terrifying.
There was a couple of times, it's funny, during that, I'm like, okay, Jake was my Bobo, the guy who does the recreation, 'cause Jake's a big guy. So I said, okay, duck down, because the witness was with me. I ducked a little lower. Okay, and I'm on the race. You don't have to duck down the whole time. So he stands back up, and then another shot flies. Like, okay, duck down.
Duck. Fuck. Don't listen to me. Jesus Christ.
So it's pretty comical,
Oh, God, it's like
It's
Starship
entertaining.
Troopers. Get up.
But no, we have a good time, and like I said, I'm excited to get back out there and do this expedition. And every time you hear that sound, we get paid, so thank you.
No, that's not what happened.
Thank you for chiming
Every
in.
time that sound happens, a Bigfoot pops an anal cherry out in the middle of the woods.
I was kind of
There was
promoting
two. There was two this
promoting the
episode.
podcast.
Nah,
Come on,
we're
we
good.
got funding going on.
Promote him with the crazy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're gonna get back out there. I've already got people signed up,
Awesome.
which is awesome.
I think I might have to try and join you
and
on
come
one
and
of
do
them.
a live Twitch.
Yeah, do some
Just so you know, it's gonna be kind of cool. Like I always try to do something exciting on my expeditions.
Yeah.
Not only feed the troops good stuff and entertain them and have some activity, right? Which there's no guarantee, of course.
Sure.
But I've been pretty fortunate in that regard. Except for the hurricane episode we did. That didn't yield very much.
No?
But proved we were some badass freaking campers.
You're
let me
just
tell you.
out there getting fucked by nature.
Huddled under my tarp.
Just getting fisted by wind and rain.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Hurricane Joaquin. Remember that? Yeah, that was fun. But we have, on Friday night, I'm going to have Matt Moneymaker, the founder of the BFRO, come via Zoom and address the troops. And then on Saturday, I'm taking him up to Farmingdale to this Cryptid Paranormal Festival. They're going to get to meet not Ron Moorhead, whoever, Ronnie LeBlanc.
They're going to meet all the big names that I don't know.
You know, Marky and Mark are going to be there again from Weird New Jersey.
Okay.
They're a lot of fun, by the way. I filmed with Mark Moran.
Okay.
You know, from
I like the
Travel
Weird New Jersey
Channel,
books.
Travel Channel, Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Mm-hmm.
So we interviewed them last year.
What's the service like out there? You bring like a little hotspot. You bring like Wi-Fi hotspots, and as long as you have power, you can. Have internet.
I'm on the Verizon network, so it's usually not too bad, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Not always great. Let's face it.
Probably enough to get some. If not, you just record. We just record it. You record.
But that's the worst case scenario is we record it and then I put it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can also hook up the microphones while we're on like StreamYard's really good for on-site shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I'm going to shift from Zoom to StreamYard this year.
Okay,
That's
that's a good move.
I'm going to take it up a notch.
I actually, I was hesitant to leave StreamYard, but since Slayer showed me OBS, this has probably been the easiest way.
Well, OBS I incorporate into those. I thought, don't you need?
He's got a Discord. You got Discord, right? No, you don't. Get a
Discord.
You got to get a Discord.
I don't have Discord.
If you want to reach out to these goons, creeps, and nerds.
I got OBS, but I'm trying to get a little bit more familiar with it. I've done a couple of live streams on YouTube using OBS, which is cool.
Well, I mean, I have a Slayer class coming up whenever I can find the time, so he's going to sit me down and show me a few things.
Please include
when we schedule that, I'm happy to bring you by and you can pick our brains.
I'll pay you for it.
Nah, you ain't gonna pay me. You ain't gonna pay me.
Seriously,
we just got a Bigfoot guy. That's all. You're part of the crew.
You got a Bigfoot guy.
You got a Bigfoot.
At your disposal.
Slayer's got a Bigfoot guy now.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't mind, and I don't keep it a secret. That's why I'm the only health food store in America with a Bigfoot museum.
There you go.
Right.
Now, how big is the museum? Like your collection? Like if you could describe, like I don't mean like the size of it. I mean, like, what do you have?
It's got some nice tracks. It's got some other examples of like Gigantopithecus, jawbone.
Okay.
Got some trinkets, I got a few things, nothing major.
You like Sasquatch for rabbit's foot type deal I can snag at your shop?
I actually do have Sasquatch hair and sticks that were thrown at me and rocks that were thrown at me. You can see the nail imprint where it broke it off the tree to throw it at us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've got stuff like that. The main thing is, though, I would have to say, is the track collection I have.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like the prints and the cast molds.
And I've got some posters that are cool. I've got a Monet, which has a Bigfoot in it. Some books. I've got a whole collection of books.
Now that you're going to dive into other stuff, now you can open up your museum and make it like a paranormal museum.
Absolutely.
Like maybe you get a piece of metal from a spacecraft or maybe
are you reading my mind?
Like the foreskin of an alien or some shit.
Are you reading my effing mind?
I might be.
I have a piece of the airplane that crashed into the tower in the Pine Barrens, that F-16 that crashed and took out the tower.
Get the hell out of here.
On Bear Swamp Hill Tower Road. I've got a piece of that.
Wow.
I also, remember the helicopter that crashed from ABC News last year?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, the pilot and the cameraman died tragically. I went out there, found the location. I've got a piece of helicopter this big.
Wow.
No, don't tell the FAA, but...
Well, I mean, you did. I didn't say nothing.
Hey, correct that. I gave it back to the...
I didn't find shit.
I didn't find shit. But no, man, that's the kind of stuff that we go out there and we get boots on the ground. We go out and investigate.
You have a Geiger meter? Slay said you should check your shit with a radiation checker.
I don't have a Geiger meter, but I got a metal detector.
It's not going to help you grow a second.
Does that count?
You get a second nose. Should have had my metal detector.
I can get an EMF. We've got a guy on my team, Brian Bruner, who's got all the gear for the paranormal stuff. In fact, we're getting together. Our team is getting together. We're going to Penhurst Asylum, and we're doing that overnight thing there. Ooh. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be filming there, of course.
Yeah, and you got the night vision cameras and everything. You're all set up.
We got it all.
Yeah,
and I got people that want to film. It's gonna be badass for sure. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But like I said, the people who are doing this with me are all into that.
Yeah.
So they're totally down.
You need to throw some skeptics in the mix.
Which is why I brought Jake in.
Okay.
And like I said, Jake is now an investigator.
Do you have that like as a control? You always have like at least one skeptic. Do you find that's always best?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had scientists that were skeptic come on to these expeditions. And again, leave feeling like, oh my God, what just happened? You know?
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing.
Yeah, you make believers out of the non-believers.
And you make friends, you know?
Sure.
You make these relationships. Like these people I'm talking about, you know, Brian and Nathan, and they're like family to me now. Like, I know.
And you only know them through
through
squatching.
Bigfoot. Yeah,
wild.
Brian Spinner. He's got my same last name. He's in New York.
Yeah, no relation.
No relation. He's a BFRO investigator and organizer. His daughter's middle name is Anastasia. My daughter's name is Anastasia.
What the fuck?
He had a dog named Max. I had a dog named Max. I mean, there's so many correlations between the two of us. It's like, you know, it's really strange.
Like your long lost doppelganger.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But yeah, so there's some weird things that happen on these things, and the relationships that I've developed over the years with these people, it's like they're family.
Wow.
And I know I got their back, and they have my back. You know.
That's smart and awesome. You have to be
challenged. Yeah,
challenged.
I'm special.
Because you you have to be challenged. You can go down a dead end for way too long. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm challenged, all right.
Yeah,
but hey, it's funny. Recently, in fact, if you go to the expedition page on the BFRO.net, I might as well plug them as well while I'm at it, okay? Because I did away with my NASBro.
Fuck me.
I did away with my...
Squatch got another butthole.
NASBro.
Fuck.
NASBro.net is no more. Okay, that was my website that I had for NASBro, North American Sasquatch Bigfoot Researchers Organization.
NASBro.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, sure is.
So I did away with NASBro.net because I got BFRO.net, and that's where you go to the expedition page and you can read about which expeditions are where and sign up. There's 2 links on this page where you can watch the episode I did with Hank Flynn from 29 Fox, right? That was in 2018 when he came to interview me after a recent sighting. And then there's a recent one he did with me this past June, where he came to the shop and did an interview, and he was like, you know, the skeptic, I want to learn about this, right? And it's a pretty cool episode, so I suggest checking that out.
Yeah, he threw the link up for you.
Thank you. That's awesome. So
he's very helpful.
It's a cool thing, you know, and because I'm an investigator and I do the organization, I don't have to, you know, worry. I get access to these reports that come in, and there's thousands of them, so I get to pick and choose which ones I want to follow up with, you know, and if I think they're real or not. But
wow, you got a lot of good stuff coming too, man. So where do you think the first? So Pennhurst Asylum is probably going to be your first non-Squatch
Bigfoot
official hunt.
Yeah,
really?
for sure.
And you hope to find a bunch of
official, like you said. That's the key word, because we've done other.
Oh yeah. I know you've dabbled in many of things, but under your umbrella of professionalism with your equipment and your crew, that's going to be the first official.
In fact, we were at Kearney Cottage at the first cryptid festival that was up in Perth Amboy. Nathan and I went up there, and Heather, it was around Halloween, so Heather was dressed like really provocative, wearing
your
fishnet
favorite
stockings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so we had the opportunity to do the first presentation there as Bigfoot people, but we had Brian Bruner, Nathan's brother-in-law, with his K2 meters and REM pod there. This thing was going off. I'm telling you, nobody was around it, right? This thing was going off continuously while we're there. And Kearney Cottage is supposed to be one of the most haunted homes in America. Okay? So we actually did the first one there. It was like around Halloween. So that wasn't technically the Cryptid Festival. That was more of a Halloween type of festival, but I was the first speaker to attend that. And then the next year we did the Bigfoot Festival, and I was the speaker there, among other people. But I never used a PowerPoint presentation. I always did it off the cuff.
Right.
You know, just, hey, this is who I am.
This is me.
This is my experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've always been a good speaker.
Last year, though, I did the Bucks County Paranormal Festival. And I was paid to come do it, right, which is cool. And I made up a PowerPoint using my new MacBook. Okay. There was some technical difficulties at first, though.
Learning curve, we call it.
Right. So, they couldn't get it on right away, so I was winging it. And then they got the PowerPoint to come on. Sure. And it worked out, but for the organization, that's the BFRO.net. And then you click on the link that says for the expeditions. You can also click on recent reports and reports in your area. That's what I did initially. I checked out the BFRO's page.
If you're gonna do ghosts,
Yeah.
which it sounds like you're definitely gonna get heavily into the ghosts, Scottish Rite Museum in Collingswood, or Scottish Rite Building
It's
in
haunted in
Collingswood.
Collingswood. Yeah.
And I didn't know it was haunted until after I'd already been in it and like felt weird as shit. So I was a salesman for a car salesman for a long time in Cherry Hill. Me and a guy who'd been there like 10 plus years went and like had to demonstrate the Chevy Bolt and the Volt to like the mayor. So we were there because we were very knowledgeable of it. We're breaking it down, and it's right out front of the Scottish Rite place.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy I'm with is way older than me. He's probably in his mid 60s. He's like, I gotta pee, let's go in. And we tried to find a bathroom. They're taking us all to like a bathroom that's available, and we're up in this giant ballroom, and I just start getting chills. I don't think anything paranormal is happening. I'm just like, oh fuck. Like it happens like 3 times in a row. And I'm one of those guys, like that only happens maybe once a day. And I just started like getting chills, and I'm like, this feels fucked up. Like it almost felt like I was like having almost like a little bit of like a fever chill. And then as soon as I walked out, and it was colder than it was inside, it stopped. So I was talking about it out loud with the salesman. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, I'm like, you're older than me. Is that a thing that, getting old does to you? And then the lady who took us in to go to the bathroom, she's like, oh, that might have been the ghosts.
That's just a style.
And I'm like, the fuck did you just say to me, woman? Like, you just let people in here and the ghosts just be making them fucking jitterbug?
That's just Estelle. She doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah, that's just the Countess.
It's okay.
She's checking your spine for abnormalities.
I had a ghost experience myself growing up in New York.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
New York's got a lot of history, too.
Oh, yeah. But I was in Smithtown, Long Island, so that don't count, apparently.
Sure, it fucking counts.
As a kid, though, I remember laying in my bed and something, it felt like these big cushions. Like something put one of those big cushions on me and held me down. I was laying on my stomach and held me down, and I was like feeling like I was going to suffocate. And then I managed to call out, and then it got lifted off of me, That was one. And then there was another occasion in that home. And just for backstory, my aunt and uncle had lived with us for a little while when they moved from Europe to New York. So I had moved my bedroom from the back of the house to the front of the house, okay? My mother was doing some dishes. My sister Linda was down there. And we had this opening between the kitchen and the family room. So, my mother had said to Linda, turn off the TV and go on up. And she thought she heard the TV going again. Oh, darn, Linda put the TV back on. Linda wasn't there. Linda comes down and says, Mom, there's somebody in Eric's room. Like that, right? So they go up, and my mom starts to go to the front bedroom, and she goes, not that one. His old bedroom. And they hear this wailing noise, like a woman moaning and wailing, sorrowful, like just, right? And so this is going on and on. It's not stop. So my mother grabs me out of bed and brings me downstairs. And turns out the next night, or the next day, they found out that Uncle Helmut, his mother had passed on. And who knows, apparently she came searching for Helmut. And maybe she was the one making these noises in that bedroom. So it's kind of spooky.
Fuck.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've,
Wow, it's the second time I talked about Uncle Helmut today.
Really?
That's weird.
It's an interesting name, Helmut.
That's odd.
Yeah, it's odd.
It's like my last living uncle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So my same buddy that had the ostriches, same fucking guy, same house. We're at like one of his family vacation homes or whatever. Old ass house in the middle of the woods. His parents leave us there for like the night. They're going out to some shindig or whatever. I was like 12 when it was happening, so who the fuck knows? And of course, we're watching scary movies and we're all hyped up on adrenaline and preteen hormones and all that shit. He's like, yo, I hear this house is haunted. And he starts fucking with me. He starts like, oh, we got to check this out. And of course, he knows all the creaks and cracks and bullshit in his house, so he's fucking with me. And then about an hour and a half into the bullshit, I'm like, all right, I'm over it. And then we start watching TV. Now, the way the TV was set up, it was one of those big ass tube ones, so you couldn't really see it good on an angle. Remember the ones that had like the projector screen almost?
Yeah, I had one.
And then if you looked at it from the side, you couldn't see shit.
Yep.
So we both were sitting on the couch, and then there's a hallway with a linen closet directly behind us. It's maybe a hallway about, I don't know, 20 feet long. A couple rooms on each side, and then the hallway closet itself is directly on. Mm-hmm. Hear a little, like the door close. So my buddy turns around, takes a look, and he goes, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, and just runs out the front door. Now I think he's fucking with me. I'm like, all right, dude, what the fuck? So I go, and I look over. Fuck, Bigfoot raped another guy. Butthole deflowering. So I go down this hallway, and I'm just like trying to call him out. Like, there's nothing there, dude. And I look in. So there's the hall closet. There's the 2 rooms here. I put my head into the one room, and then all I feel is, I just feel fingers on my head.
Stroking your head.
And he's still having a fucking episode on the front lawn. He's like, fuck, 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 fuck. And then I like froze, and then all I heard was, welcome. I swear to God.
Oh, my God.
And I don't know if I was hyped up on Mountain Dew and adrenaline, and maybe that's the combination for LSD. I don't know. But like I was like, same as him. Fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. And I ran out the front door. And from that moment on, I was like, I got to find more ghosts.
Yeah. That's the ghost bug.
So we would go into like abandoned houses, and I spent a lot of time in Philly and stuff like that. So you go in some creepy bandos, and you find out there's some ducky blocks in the city, dude.
Oh, for
like
sure.
You can find some fucking underground.
Some of those crack houses.
Looks like the opening scene from Blade minus all the cool raving people. It's just like, what the fuck? There's a shower here for no reason. There's a warehouse with an octagon shower. What the fuck is that?
I remember going to a club that was like that in Philly. It was like so gross and like.
It was a Club Shampoo.
Sketchy.
Club Shampoo had one of those fucking weird ass showers.
What was Kurt Cobain's girlfriend? Courtney, right?
Courtney Love. Yeah.
Courtney Love. I went to see her band play in this place. It was Stevie. Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even know she played music. I thought she was just
good
Kurt
excuse
Cobain's.
to get effed up, I guess. You know, but
how long have we been running for? A little over 2 hours.
I'm telling you, man.
Right on, man. We could talk for fucking.
We could go for.
I
days.
feel like you could talk about this shit for hours and hours.
Barely touched on any of the stories.
Yeah,
barely.
You probably got a lot of them.
Oh.
What would you say is the story that like scared you the most? What do you think? Like really like shook you to your core, like almost to the point where you're like, fuck, man, I don't know, maybe I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
And it could be a squatch, it could be a fucking another paranormal, it could be an entirely different thing, whatever.
You know, ultimately the thing that scared me scared me the most was that encounter I had in my first expedition, of course, because I was new when he pushed in over my tent, took a deep breath, and then pushed in over my head. That freaked me out, of course.
Your voice, and then I was like, what the fuck? I was in that story, and I was like, what the fuck? I remember that. Okay.
That's
so you
definitely
think that's the
one of the key ones.
Okay.
Again, getting growled at 5 times out in the woods by myself and looking for tracks in the snow, that was a pretty good moment. But I reacted without fear, and I went, whoa, twice. I gruffed back at him, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell am I thinking,
Yeah. I just invited him into my butt.
I've had
computer notification's gonna go off soon.
Meep. So yeah, there's been a few occasions where I've been scared. What's the most scared? I don't know. I mean, shit, I remember on my second expedition in BC, Canada, walking through the forest, pitch black, couldn't see my hand in front of my face with a guy I just met, the organizer.
Sweet.
Like
like you do.
Like I do. And I don't know this guy.
Has anybody in a squatching group ever given you like this guy's gonna not let me leave this forest tonight? Like,
right.
Has he ever you ever gotten vibes like that?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, that's the thing. Like but it crossed my mind as I'm walking through and I couldn't see my freaking hand. And like there's bears and stuff out there too, big bears.
Yeah.
So I've been in situations, and again, having things like that light across the trail, that was unnerving, but not scary necessarily, God, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, because I've had a lot of occasions where I could have been really scared.
How many expeditions you say you've been on?
I've done a couple of dozen. I've been on, because I put on my own, of course. So
sure.
I've done almost 2 dozen myself.
Okay.
And then attended a few others, so I've done about 25, I guess. I don't know.
Like full on.
which isn't that much necessarily, but
I mean, that's a decent bit.
yeah, not bad over the last 2 decades.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And they're
But,
like legit. Like you're planning this. You're getting people out. Like
sanctioned.
You're not
fully
fucking
sanctioned.
around. You're not
No.
just going out with your flip flops and.
No, man, believe me, especially as Heather, when we had to go up to North Jersey when I was doing them up there, I'd be all up in my head thinking I forgot something because I can't just drive back 2.5 hours. You know what I mean?
You're in the
Because I
middle of
found
fucking nowhere.
the casting material, you know. But,
And that's no joke, dude. You get fucked up out there. Like something happens, you fall, you hurt yourself.
Totally.
You're like
you're not near.
you're a few
hospital.
hours hike even to a means to get to a hospital.
That's right.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
like, I know for a fact that police will use infrared helicopters, but that takes a while too.
And my team is I'm known for being the one who stays out the latest, goes the furthest. You know.
Yeah. Are you the young buck?
I'm the older.
Oh, you're the
It
older.
turns out it's funny because I look the youngest, but it turns out I'm older than them. Okay.
Yeah, you got the fucking fountain of youth over your house. You look the same.
But
Fucking 15 years, the same.
like we were up in New York State at Brian's expedition, right? I don't know if this is the one I co-organized with him or not because we did 2 back to back. But oh man, that was awesome. The first one when I got to do my first water night op, and we had me and Patty and two other attendees in the boat that night, Friday night, and I had my old fireman's therm because I didn't want to take a chance on dropping good equipment in the water,
Right.
Right. But this is a fireman's therm; it's waterproof and all that. It's like a boat anchor anyway. So we freaking got out, and there's a team coming down the side. They're going to hang out on a rock outcropping about halfway down the lake bank. And as they're coming down, they're making so much noise. I actually radioed them, and I was like, "Hey, can you do me can you make any more noise?" Like, you know. So then we get to the end, and I do this little, because I'm the captain, with the electric trolling motor. So we get around the curve at the end of the lake into this little like cove, and I'm keeping the boat steady, and I show the others in the boat. I said how that team looks on the rock outcropping. It looks like little tiny little, and it has like a red film to preserve our night vision also, right? And then I pan over, and there's a image on the bank with arms and legs, and it's going like this, swaying side to side, like. And so I hand it to Patty, and Frank are checking it out. I'm trying to keep the boat steady, right? We had a freaking, on our first water night op, a freaking thermal hit. This sucker, we watched it for 2 minutes, and then it glided up the hillside, like 45 degrees. Glided silently
Not a
up the
single problem
hillside.
getting up either, huh?
No problem at all. And then 2.5 minutes in, I think Frank says, I lost it. And then 30 seconds later, we hear this branch snap, like broke a branch off a tree, and Patty turns and looks at me. We both said, "Did you hear that?" And I had audio running, so I did record the audio. Just weren't able to record the
video.
thermal.
Oh, the thermal video. Son of a bitch.
That unit requires an external recorder, camcorder, right?
We gotta figure you out.
So-
We gotta get you kitted.
Well, now I've got the AGM now. Now that I've done it, I'm not gonna, I did a night op on my last expedition too, where we went down the Mullica River in canoes at night with therm.
That's fun.
Yeah, hey, you never know what you're gonna find,
I love a good canoe ride.
So anyway, this was one expedition. On the next expedition on Saturday night, that was Friday night on the first one. On the second one on Saturday night, I took my team the furthest. We had a few different teams set up. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the night, it was getting like 1:30, 2 a.m., and a couple of the guys on my team wanted to hike out down the road and get picked up by the other team that had left earlier, right? So I didn't know if they had their radio on, so I knew one of them wanted to hear some samurai chatter, which sounds like, like a Godzilla movie, you know what I mean? So
Samurai chatter.
Samurai chatter. Yeah, so it was like, I said, turn on your radio. Right? And so you see them, then you see the headlamp come on, they're fumbling in their bag, getting their radio turned on. 30 seconds later, I'm hearing these howls come across the lake. And it was like a mournful, female-sounding howl. Just, wah, wah. There ain't no coyotes, you know what I mean? And I had my headphones on, and I got my mic stick with my specialized microphones on there. I'm recording this. Got like a dozen howls, and I handed my recorder over to another attendee so he could hear it, I'm like, well, got what we wanted. Let's head out, And one of the other guys, Larry, who does the North Jersey expeditions now, he was on the other team by the lake. He said he got hit by a rock as they were leaving to get back. They were on the AT. I said, cool, I want to get hit by a rock too. So that's why I was taking my team back with me that way so we could get potentially hit by rocks too. And the other two guys were going down the other trail to get picked up, right? And so we didn't get hit by rocks on the way out that night, which was unfortunate. But I got back to base camp about 4 a.m., right? There was a hamburger on the grill that was cold, but I ate it. And then I got in my tent thinking, okay, I got my recorders going, I got my trail cameras going. Maybe I'll have a repeat of what happened in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, I'm listening to Dixie Cryptid in one ear, and I could hear out of my other ear, I had an earbud in one side, and I could hear the owl hooting across the forestry road up the hill, and I hear crunch, 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 coming towards my tent. And I had my phone on its cradle, like, with the Dixie Cryptid episode, and I'm thinking the fire was on that side, and it's coming from my left, so I flipped my phone down so it wasn't illuminating me anymore. But the fire was still illuminating the tent, so I'm like, oh shit, I'll just pretend I'm sleeping, right? Screw it. If this is my time to go, at least I'm going to go doing something I love. And I rolled over and went to sleep. And then I'm awakened by Kevin, Capon Kevin, and he was in the house. We had a house at our disposal too, which I slept in a couple of nights also before moving into the tent. He came out. He was all freaked out. He had this dream. He was getting pulled into the depths of hell. And literally, he was so freaked out. He was throwing his shit out. And he had to leave. I went in, I talked him down off the ledge, you know what I mean? And then I managed to salvage his stuff and get it back to him at some point. But so again, getting back to this whole paranormal thing, this home was abandoned. It was at a campground, you know what I mean? And some weird shit happening there too.
You got your work cut out for you.
And my recorder malfunctioned, didn't record.
Of course it did.
My trail cameras, oh my God, it was amazing. I had apple cider donuts and organic apples across the trail, this Y in the trail where it was back behind base camp. And I had one camera at the kitchen area and then the other one at this Y in the trail. And I had apples on the tree above the camera, and then I had them across the tree with the apple cider donuts. So I get back Monday to New Jersey, and I'm like, shit, I forgot my trail cameras. So I'm off Monday. I said, Heather, you want to take a ride? So we drove back up to New York, and I retrieved my cameras and met up with Brian again, right? I'm thinking, wow, all the apples and all the donuts are gone, except for the 2 apples above the camera in the tree. I'm thinking, oh my God, I got the best footage ever. This is indisputable proof of Bigfoot. So we get home. I look at the camp kitchen area footage. A couple of deer, that's about it. I put in the second SD card. Nothing. Not even me setting up the card or retrieving the card. Nothing. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Did I mess up? I know what happened. They looked at the card and they said, this one's blurry, this one's blurry, this one's blurry, this one's not blurry. We got to delete this. And they put it back in, and that's what
You think Bigfoot deleted your footage?
I think they deleted my photos, my card.
Slay your ass. Did you sleep on a patch of shrooms? Jesus, that sounds scary. No way they were there. Wow, you're lucky. And hashtag fuck Ben, of course.
Hashtag fuck Ben.
Hashtag fuck Ben. Hashtag fuck Todd.
Hey, man. Love Todd.
Fuck him.
Ben's a good guy too. Ben, we got some inside stories with too. It's jokes as far as me and Heather, because he's a handsome dude, and we were pulling up on the PA expedition. She saw him coming out. She's like, "Ooh, take off your shirt and chop some wood for me, lumberjack." Jesus Christ! I told Ben that story. It's okay. I can say it.
So when do you think you'll make the shift from strictly Squatch to
Paranormal?
Full-on paranormal? Onto the podcast.
Well, I put it out there at the end of the last episode. What do people think of that idea? So I'm waiting to hear back, and not enough people are commenting. Got a nice amount of viewership on it, so thank you for checking it out.
Yeah,
but
check it out. The links are all up there. At
always
the top.
appreciate. Oh, and I noticed. Thank you, Slayer, for the Buzzsprouts thing. But they can listen on any platform at this point until I decide whether I'm going to keep it or not. I mean, it's just YouTube seems to be the way to go. Maybe. Yeah. Shift from Buzzsprouts to Twitch.
I'd also like to get everything that I've done so far put onto Spotify. I have to find a way to do that.
Well, yeah.
Just the audio. I don't need to do the video on Spotify.
Sure. Well, I'm on Spotify. I'm on
Yeah.
Apple Tunes. Google Tunes is going away. I understand. You name it, you can listen to it. Squatch Talks with an S. Squatch Talks.
Mm-hmm.
He can help with that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you'd be amazed how many people will reach out to you and just offer assistance when you start
Putting it out there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the vibe is as long as you're paying it forward, because you're gonna learn shit and you're gonna learn a new easy way to do something that you didn't know before, and then somebody's gonna be like, "Fuck, how do I do this?"
That's why I came to the studio today, Slayer, because I wanted to see how Dustin was promoting and producing his show here.
I have turned this into from a passion to probably a morbid obsession at this point. I'm just trying to get as many people in those chairs, and soon the couches will be gone, and I'll get some more chairs.
Indeed.
He's doing great.
Indeed,
Thanks,
he is.
buddy.
I should have brought my girly go with me.
Yeah.
He told me I could have gone before the show, but my back teeth are floating. Getting old.
What do you think? You want to up? Bigfoot popped another one.
Hey,
fuck!
woo-hoo.
That's
Cha-ching.
We got to get a counter going. How many
Cha-ching.
anal cherries has Bigfoot popped since we've been on the
I guess
podcast?
that's because I'm drinking my Squatch Talks coffee. Oh no, Tacta Squatch.
Well, you said that's Black Rifle.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because everybody who knows what I do calls me Jew Rogan.
Jew Rogan.
Jew Rogan, yeah.
Jew eat.
Yeah. Jeet. What do you think? You want to end it there?
I jump ship,
We'll jump ship to what?
I used to be Jewish. Now I'm Catholic. You know that.
Oh, you're never fully gone.
I got the crew.
You're never fully gone. I bet your credit's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so fuck that.
I can get back in anytime I want, but every time I try to get out, they pull me back in.
They do pull you back in. It's the interest rates, really.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and the housing loans and all that shit. Hey, you have to change your FBook page.
Web link, bro.
Web link, bro.
Me or Justin? Dustin.
Are you talking to me? I know he's not talking to me.
Hey, you.
Because I does what I want.
Out there all alone, feeling naked on the phone.
Ooh, Slayer, you should show me. Oh, we got 3 people. We should raid.
Uh-oh. Did I mess up? It says not Dustin. So that must be me.
You ain't messed nothing up.
You have to change your Facebook page web link, bro. I didn't do it. He did it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I just copy and pasted fucking links on the websites. Yeah, that's probably my fault.
It's at it's Squatch Talks Podcast at everything. Instagram, it's at Facebook,
and
Twitter,
and on
X.
Instagram, your personal's New Jersey Bigfoot.
New Jersey Bigfoot, New Jersey _ something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a Bigfoot in there. Hey, I'm on at Gmail. They can reach us.
It's for
if
your
they
old
want
one
to email
at
me.
nasbro.net.
Yeah, that's the old one, man. I'm done with that. We got to get rid of that.
Okay.
That's deleted.
Yeah, we got to clean your stuff up.
Clean my shit up. But
Yeah.
hey, I am squatcherman@gmail.com.
Squatcherman@gmail.com.
How
Is
cool
this
is
how
that?
people would book a?
They could.
An
Well,
excursion with you?
Well, they personal ones, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like Survivor Man, right?
Okay.
But Squatcher Man.
And you said the Blue Hole episode's been kind of blowing up a bit. So,
Yeah, it has.
So, what's the best way for them to find that?
YouTube.
Going to YouTube,
at
Squatch
Talks Podcast.
and then the Blue Hole.
The Blue Hole.
The Blue Hole, and
Not
they
the
ain't
butthole.
They ain't talking about Smurf puss. They're talking about the Blue Hole out in Jers, the dirty Jers. Contact at Squatch Talks Squatch Talks.
If you wanna
Squatch
see-
Talks Podcast at gmail.com.
If you want to see some underwater footage from the Blue Hole and yeah, some fun antics, check it out.
Yeah, and I think the next time you're back in the studio, I'm going to have, this is all going to be rearranged. We'll have new cameras. Once we get the know-how and technical,
Can I have the couch?
you want the couch? I'm being dead serious. I need to get that fucking thing out of here.
I'll ask.
Yeah. Talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Talk to the boss about putting big-ass furniture in there. Because I got 2 chairs
She
that are
likes
going to go
leather.
in. It's crushed suede microfiber.
I know. I was making a joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
And tell her,
Go with me here, brother.
tell her I raised a family on that couch.
I'll
You know what I'm saying? we're gonna. I think
I'm
we're
taking
gonna
my
cut it
feet.
there.
I'm taking my feet and going.
Don't yeah, dude.
Feet was made for
grab
walking.
grab the big fucker, and we'll hold that up for the thumbnail.
All right.
Big bastard.
The big bastard.
Big bastard. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. That's a good one. Ooh. A little kiss on it.
Kiss
Yeah.
the foot.
Kiss the foot.
This has been fun, brother.
Yeah, it has been fun. It's always. I really missed you, man.
Me too.
You know, yeah, we gotta start hanging out again. We're so close. I'm
Yet
gonna
so
swing
far.
by. I'm gonna swing by Health Haven, and we're gonna work out some official sponsorship stuff.
Cool,
What do you
man.
think? All right.
Yeah, man.
Make sure you check out my boy Eric Spinner over at Squatch Talks Podcast. And if you haven't by now, people, like, subscribe, follow, share, dust off the mic. We ain't gonna fucking stop. We ain't gonna stop.
If you like the episode, please share and like.
Hit the fucking bell.
Subscribe.
Do what you like and subscribe. All right, everybody. Peace.
I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the start. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice. These my motives, about my chicken and its rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no, you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming the competition, they ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right, cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits.